I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
It did not switch me over. Alrighty. How is everyone doing? Let's do the intro really quickly and let's roll into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be watching this. My name is Josh and welcome to my channel. On here we talk news, politics, and current events. So the internet's back, luckily. So it is time to get into it, shall we? All right. So apologies. I've been locked in a heated debate over Pokemon for like the last hour or so as well. Okay. I want to settle this. I would like to settle this in a quick, concise manner. All right. Because me and a buddy of mine been going back and forth over the, in my opinion, the what's the word I'm looking for? The weaker design philosophy of the newer gens of Pokemons. Now, when I say weaker, I don't necessarily mean that they're like bad designs. Let's new Pokemon Gen 8. Okay, let's go look at Gen 8. Okay. I know this is like a big departure from what we usually talk about. I promise we will get to that. Stop it. Okay. No, what is, okay, this is what I want. And you know what? You can all call me a fucking boomer for this take, but I just think the older gens have more concise, more, what's the word? Like definitely more cleaner. I don't think there's an argument that the newer gens are a little less readable and a little less clear than the older gens. I don't see the argument here. So we're at Gen 8, right? This is I guess some of them from Gen 8. I didn't play any of these, but like, I'm sorry, but all right, we got some good ones. We got this admittedly kind of weird looking fox thing right here. I got no problem with that. The foxes are fine. Like, what the fuck is this thing? And like, one of my key arguments that I made to my other millennial friend was, they're just so fucking busy, man. They're so fucking busy in a lot of ways. Like there are good ones in here. Don't get me wrong. This teacup thing, totally fun. Love this teacup and this teapot one. But like, some of these are just like, what the fuck is Obstagoon? What in good God's gravy is this? What the hell is this thing? What in the fuck is this thing? Okay, Mr. Rhyme looks fun, even though it's worse than Mr. Mime. This is a worse design than Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime, you know what the fuck Mr. Mime is when you immediately look at him. I don't know what the fuck this thing is. Fucking Snorlax, but I'm assuming these are his feet down here and that's his ass and he's laying on his face. But maybe it's not. Is that is that an eye? I don't fucking know. Okay, there's this penguin with a fucking ice cube for a head. Okay, it's not bad. More mousy Pikachu, but like with more coloration and like a less distinct silhouette. It's just it's not a full revocation of the new gen designs. I just don't think they're as clean. We have this fucking ice Ponyta looking ass, which like not awful. And then we have kind of a dark one, but like, is that more readable than is Ponyta? Is that more readable than this fucking, than the two horse Pokemon from Gen 1? Are those more identifiable? I just don't think they are. I think from after a point, like obviously after a point, you run out of animals to just like add an element to and add some flair. and you're like, good. Like, you like, I get it. You eventually run out of that. There's just not much you can do past a point after you run out of animals. Like what Kung-Fu? What is it? A bear? Is it a ninja? Is it? I guess it's doing kung fu because of the fu part. But like, unless I know that, unless I get the name under there, then I don't know what the fuck this is. The other thing, I also kind of can't tell what the hell's happening. What in God's name are either of these two? Like, are they dogs? Are they cats? Are they like the thing next to it? What the hell is that thing? Okay, the one before it is a little bit better, I think. And the one before that, I would say is a bit better. But like, what the fuck is any of these three? Like, and not necessarily, it's just, these aren't the, like, what are these? What am I being communicated? What is being communicated to me with these ones? I guess the middle one is like an ice type. Is an ice fish type thing, but like, that's not fucking fucking Goldeen, a fucking goldfish. Like, fuck, man. Snarmy. Just fucking robot stars that look like starfish. They're starfish but robotic. Boom, we're done. Like, fucking Magikarp. A carp with some really frilly elements. It's just, and again, and like, there's shit that's busy in the old gens. Don't get me wrong. Like, fucking some of these are just kind of bundles of rocks, mostly because it's the rock types that get busy. But like, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, this thing that looks like a anthropomorphized fucking Stonehenge is on the same level as, like, in terms of readability and understandable, like, characteristic traits from a design perspective only, as like fucking what's the one I'm thinking of now I'm forgetting his name now. Not Graveler. What's the do they have names under these? No. Where's Homeboy? I like just saw him. Fucking, oh, there, Onyx. As fucking, like, I'm not saying you're gonna be able to name all of these, but you could, like, any normal person, even if they're not engaged with Pokemon, could look at this list and be like, okay, like I know Charizard. Like, I don't know, maybe I get his name wrong, but like, it's a dragon. Fucking, it's a turtle. It's a turtle with guns. Fucking Bulbasaur. Garlic. More, flower, fucking whatever. Fucking, the tree Pokemon type ass deal. You get what I mean? Like, you kind of know, like, Diglett, okay, underground type ass monster. Like, the psychic ones, because they have those big mustaches and the spoons. You kind of are like, okay, he's psychic because he's bending spoons. Okay, I get that. Fucking, what the fuck? Like, I mean, do I even need to say Eking's, like, is a snake? It's snake backwards. Like, they, like, not to say that these aren't more creative. They almost certainly are. But, like, there is a point, I think, where, like, creativity muddles the readability of the Pokemon. Like, the starters are pretty good. We got a monkey, an angrier monkey, and an even angrier monkey. Totally fine. Totally got it. The fucking Scorbunny, great. I actually really like this. Like, it's a bunny. He's got some, he clearly likes to fight because he's got, like, the tape over his nose, like he's been in a fight. He's happy. He's go lucky. You got the other one. You got the Raboot, which is again just a bunny but a rabbit now. He's got like a, he's got a face mask, looking more like a ninja. He's got more defined eyebrows here, so he's got a little bit more emotion. You got the last one. He's doing a big kick. He's got a little bit extra here at the top, but I mean, that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good evolution. As he evolves, his ears evolve. You got the whatever this water thing is, which I don't know about that last one. That last one looks like the first boss from fucking Sly Cooper 2, but okay, like cute little what the hell would this thing be called? What am I thinking? It's the things before a frog. Tadpole, like a little tadpole looking thing. You got tadpole but with an emo fringe, all right? We're staying with the conventions that the second one is always more edgy. And then the last one is just a lot going on with Entalon, a lot going on. This thing at the end, it's Pidgey, but it's those small little birds that you always see. No issues there. Fucking these two things, they're fucking squirrels. I like that one. No trouble there. This thing is Spearow, but like with a little bit more edge and darkness. Is this metal? Is this, I don't know what element this is, if there is an element. I don't even know what the fuck this thing is. Are these its eyes? Does it have glasses? I don't know. This thing's kind of fun. I mean, it's got some shape on top of it. Like, that's cool, I guess. The second one after, I think, is a little bit better. You can tell you're like, oh, it's a ladybug. Okay. But even then, it's like it's like wearing the top of the lady, the wings as like a backpack. It's a little weird. I already said the foxes are fine, if not a little bit off, but like fine. We got this one that's a fucking sheep, or I guess it's a goat, and then a goat with horns. I don't actually know if there's a difference in terms of like actual animals with that one. Whatever. I mean, this thing looks kind of fun, I suppose, and then it turns into a popcorn. Is it a popcorn? I don't know. I don't know. It's a turtle. Okay, we got that it's a turtle down here. I don't really know anything else besides that the turtle, and I want it to shut the fuck up. It's maybe got an annoying name. Yeah, Choodle, that's kind of okay. This is again just a turtle. But like, is this a better turtle design than just Squirtle or Wartortle? Or even like Blastoise? Like, are those yeah. It's just, I don't know. They're less, they're doing more, but doing more, like they're less than the sum of their parts. I'll put it that way. Love this. Dog and dog. Cute Pomeranian dog and good boy, I don't know, this is maybe a retriever type ass dog, but excellent. This thing, what the fuck? Like, this is okay. This is a rock type, right? This is a rock type. It looks like it probably floats. It's just a bundle of rocks. How is this better or more identifiable than fucking Geodude, wherever the hell spells he is on this list, if he even is? I don't think I see. No, wait. No, that's Cubone. I don't see him. But like, we all know Geodude. Like, you look at Geodude, you know what Geodude? He's a flying rock. He's got fists. It's simple. This thing is a table with a face and it's just, and this one is Graveler, but with lava, I guess. I don't, this one is an apple. Okay, an apple, cool. Now it's an apple that separates itself because there's a worm inside. You can kind of see the worm back here. Okay, I see what they were going with, and now we have just a baked good. Just a straight up baked good. Okay, like... And like, even some of the more complicated ones, I don't think are like awful designs, but they're just not, it's just not what they used to be, man. And that's going to happen. That's going to happen. We were going to get this no matter what, because eventually you just run out of shit to ape. Like, you just run out of animals. You just simply run out of animals. Like, I don't know what the fuck this sad looking ass thing is, or what its evolution is. Is this an evolution of this? I can't really tell. This is just a pelican. It's just a different pelican Pokemon, which I'm pretty sure we have a couple of. Okay, this is a Barracuda. Excellent. It's just a Barracuda, but a Pokemon. Good. We understand that. What the fuck is this thing? And why is it giving me like the weird Jimmy Neutron face? Like, what? And then like its evolution. What the fuck is that? Like, what is happening? Like, okay, these are fucking scarabs. All right, I like this one that has its eyebrows and its mustache as kind of both fire things. Like, that's cool, but I do think this is a weaker design. This Sizzlipede, I think that's a better. I think that's a worse. I think that's worse. Its evolution is really good. Whatever the fuck. Like it's just like as I'm looking through these, I'm like, I understand what they were going for, but the fact that it's not like it's not off the bat and it's not like clear to me always what things are. Like I kind of have to dig to get the like I have to kind of dig a little bit. I know I've gotten like incredibly distracted because this topic is important to me, I guess. The teacup and tea kettle, no issues. I actually think those are really fun. Like it's kind of weird because it's like, how are those Pokemon? That feels more like this feels more like a Digimon design, because Digimon tended to just be like they would just pick anything. They didn't just stick to animals for the most part. Like they would kind of get into they were a little bit more creative, which is why I think the designs are like busier for Digimon. Like the same kind of way these are busier. It's also why Digimon didn't catch on as well. Because you look at like Guillaumon. Okay. You look at Guillaumon. Besides being like, is he a dinosaur? Is he a dragon? It's kind of a bit of both. He kind of doesn't have like a distinct shape, I guess. Like Renamon, great. Renamon, excellent. It's like a fucking like fox. Like it's it's a fox. It's a nine-tailed fox. Eventually, like that makes total sense. We're all in agreement here. But like, and you have like some of the simple ones. You have like Leomon, who's just a fucking bipedal fucking lion with fucking jeans on or whatever. And again, like Digimon, I'm not going to argue, had better designs because they obviously didn't. They had more complicated designs, but like that doesn't. I wouldn't argue that made them better. This thing, cute. I guess it's a birthday hat. Its thing is a birthday hat. Okay. This one, I don't even like. This is just heavy whipping cream, I guess. I based on this and this, it's heavy whipping cream. But this thing, no fucking clue. This looks like a malformed Demogorgon from fucking Stranger Things. And Mr. Rhyme just isn't as good as Mr. Mime. I'm sorry. He's just not. You're not like, he's got a mustache and that's fun and that's great. And he's got a little he's got like a fucking cane, but then he also has this weird like nose and eyes in the middle of his stomach. And it's like, all right. Oh, this thing is just Farfetch'd, but what if we gave him like a shield? Which Farfetch'd was already a wonderful design. You didn't need to do anything with that one. I don't like, this is a tree. I don't even know. This thing's fun. Although again, I don't really know what it is besides looking kind of like an Adventure Time design for an annoying character that yells a lot or something. I hate both of these, especially this one. I don't like that at all. What the fuck? Like, and again, do the names kind of give you, I'm sure like some of the names kind of give you a hint, but like you didn't need that back in the day. You could look at a Ponyta and like you didn't have to know its name to be like, it's a fire horse. I don't know what it's called, but it's a fire horse, obviously. I don't know what this thing is besides kind of a witch look because of the hat, but that's okay. 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 We need to stop. You're right. Oh, we need to stop. I'm getting really distracted. Okay. What is, huh? Seriously, why are my okay, I don't know what just happened there. That was weird. Well, no, I want this. Do I need to like increase it? I am so confused. I don't know why my transitions are so harsh. Like they're so rough. Yeah, like I don't like, that's such a hard transition. Huh. What if I do this? Huh. Well, that's no. Okay. That's weird. I need to look into that. I thought that would be fixed when I started OBS back up, but I guess not. My point being, My overall point being, the new designs are a bit too busy, in my opinion. Like, what? Okay, last one. I promise. Last one, and then we'll get to politics. What? Galarian Zapdos? Seriously? Was Zapdos not clear enough that we, like, do you know what this does? I know what Zapdos does. He's an electric bird. But I don't know what the fuck this thing is, or what the fuck this thing is, or what the fuck this thing is. I like, after looking at it, I'm like, all right, that's a horse. And without leaving out the fact that they kept the names, they just added like an extra adjective to Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno. Like, you wouldn't know what the fuck any of these are. Without the names, you wouldn't have any kind of idea. So, and what the fuck is this over here? What the hell is this? Okay, we're done. I'm done. I know. I'm aware. Okay. Just needed to get that out of my system. I'm probably gonna send this. I'm gonna cut this segment. I'm gonna cut this out for a segment and just strictly send it to my friend as proof of my argument. Try to argue like Charizard is on the same level as like a Greninja, which I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just not. Greninja's not as iconic as Charizard, and I am not. I will die on this hill. But anyway, okay. Pokemon aside, let's get to the news, shall we? The Supreme Court apparently has decided they would like to hear the case from, I believe, Tennessee. Let me double check. Yes, on gender affirming care for youth. Transgender care. Continuing to be, for whatever reason, the only medical procedure, the only like medical genre, I guess, that apparently we need to have lawmakers and the Supreme Court sign off on. Apparently, if you feel like your nose is too big and uncomfortable, or too small and not defined enough, that the Supreme Court doesn't need to have an opinion on that. But if you are interested in playing with your gender, then the Supreme Court apparently has to have an opinion on that. I cannot understand, like this is the thing with trans care, which is kind of irritating, where like you got to feel for some of these for a lot of these folks, where like there needs to be like 8 opinions from multiple doctors, and now the Supreme Court needs to have their opinion, signed, sealed, and delivered. They need to have hearings to justify, or I guess to legitimize healthcare that healthcare that would involve your life. Like, it's just weird to me. It is just weird to me that this has become such a conversation, and it's a real. I'm not looking forward to this. I suspect this is not gonna go well. I don't know. Maybe the Supreme Court will shock me. But let's get to reading, shall we? It's just trans care somehow becomes the only kind of healthcare where you need like the government to be okay with it somehow. Everything else, everyone's choice. Every other health procedure is everybody's choice except for transgender care, I guess. I don't know. The Supreme Court agreed Monday to enter the national debate surrounding gender-affirming care for transgender youth. The justices will review the constitutionality. Like, we don't gatekeep fucking, like what do we gatekeep for kids in terms of healthcare? Name me like a thing. I'll take like one thing that we gatekeep kids from doing in terms of like healthcare wise. Like, what is... I can't think in my head. I'm genuinely trying to think, like, what is it that we're like, no, you are not allowed to get this procedure, full stop, for any reason. So says the Supreme Court of the United States, because it's like I can't, to my knowledge, I can't think of anything that has this kind of like scrutiny around it. Yes, I am adjusting this again for what feels like the 8th time. Okay. It's just, what can I say? I'm a bit of an ADHD boy. Okay, there we go. That's better. All right. Alex Jones. Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, we're at war with the ladies and gentlemen, we're at war with the globalists in the way, and the way you can defeat them is by stop watching mainstream news like CNN or ABC News. Support independent and patriotic news network, and together we can defeat the new world order, brother. Yeah, definitely don't watch CNN or ABC. Just watch this stream. Only this stream. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for chiming in on that. Golly. Let's see. The justices will likely hear the case in the fall, close to the November presidential election. Oh, great. Oh, great. How fast do you think they're going to come to a decision on that one if Trump gets elected? Do you think we're going to be waiting till June? Or do you think if Trump gets elected in November, do you think we're going to have a decision by like what, January? Just in time for him to enter into office? Families and a doctor with the support of the Biden administration challenged the Tennessee law. They argued that the law violates the 14th Amendment by discriminating on the basis of sex. After a federal appeals court upheld the law, the challengers in the Biden administration asked the Supreme Court to weigh in. Oh boy, that's okay. Laws like Tennessee's, quote, inflict profound harms on transgender adolescents and their families. Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar wrote in her petition to the High Court last November. The laws deny medical treatment that families and doctors have determined, quote, are appropriate and necessary to treat a serious medical condition. Who cares? Okay, so here's the hot take. Here's the hot take of the stream, I guess, and of this topic. I do not understand why there needs to be an appropriate and necessary medical condition to treat transgenderism. Or what is it usually they always say? It's what is the what's the medical condition they're referring to? It would be gender dysphoria. I don't really think you need any of that bullshit. Considering we have not found any basis of harm for like transgender care, what are we even talking about? What do we need to prove at this point? What harm is being inflicted? At the end of the day, I feel like I'm of the general belief that like when it comes to healthcare, you have like if you want to play around with your gender, man, go for it, bud. Go for it. I don't think the government should be standing in front of anybody and saying no, you are not allowed to play with your identity or like have any kind of nuance when it comes to that topic. I don't think it's in the government's interest. I don't think that's in like the interest of our governing bodies. It's just not. Let's see. The Tennessee law known as SB 1 bans hormone treatments or surgeries that are intended to allow a minor, quote, to identify with or live as a purported identity inconsistent with the minor's sex. Like, what does the government of Tennessee have at stake that they need to ensure that people identify and live consistent with their sex? Like, what is the conceit that the government of Tennessee says? No, we need to ensure that people identify with their sex. We must enshrine that in the law. 25 states have passed bans or restrictions on such care, according to the Human Rights Campaign. Other states such as Illinois, Colorado, and Minnesota have passed bills protecting healthcare for transgender youth. Medical organizations such as the American Academy for Pediatrics. Ooh, that's going to bug me. 1 second. Not the American. Not that. There's a gap. There we go. Let's see. Has vowed okay, let's see. Gender have come out to support the medical organizations such as the American Academy of Pediatrics have come out in support of gender transition care and say that gender affirming care for children rarely, if ever, includes surgery. Keep in mind also, most people don't engage in surgeries until like a good bit, until they're a little bit older, mainly because like, yeah, like surgery is a big step, but obviously like, you know, you can address some of those issues with what's the word I'm looking for? With what's the word I'm looking for? With hormone therapy. Let's see. Presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump has signaled support for state efforts to ban transgender treatment for children and has vowed to use the power of the federal government to block such care if he wins. The left-wing gender insanity being pushed at our children is an act of child abuse, Trump said in a video released in January. Show me the abuse. Show me the harm. I just want one person. Show me the harm. Don't give me like hypotheticals. Don't give me civilizational nonsense. Give me where is the harm done to children with this stuff. In April, the Supreme Court granted an emergency application to allow Idaho to begin broadly enforcing a new state law barring many forms of gender-affirming care for minors. However, the opinions the justices issued in the case explain that they are not resolving whether such laws are constitutional. Now the court will weigh in directly on the constitutional question. It will be the first time the court hears arguments in a case on transgender rights since Bostock v. Clayton County, the landmark 2020 ruling in which the court found that LGBTQ plus people are protected by the federal law that bars workplace discrimination on the basis of sex. Okay, so they're cool with it for workplaces, which I actually don't. I'm actually not super shocked by. I can totally see the Supreme Court making an argument of like, well, in the workplace, you need to have a blah, 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 because, you know, they're nothing if not institutionalists. And, you know, the workplace is kind of, I think, different conceptually to them. Whereas when it comes to broader society, it seems like they have a much bigger appetite for weighing in when it comes to like broad society as opposed to business. Seems like they want to leave businesses make decisions for themselves, which is in line with kind of the court's business friendly what's the word I'm looking for? Actions, I guess. One second. Is it this maybe? No. Not that. Is it this one? Maybe that's what's messing with it. Hold the phone. No, maybe not. I don't know. That's so weird. I'm still just wondering about my transitions. But yeah. Okay, well that's great. That's just lovely. Just another opportunity for us to to strip away the rights, to put up barriers to people's rights to healthcare. That's cool. That's cool. I've yet to hear a compelling argument as to why any of this is needed. Do you, by any chance, very obviously and well-designed Gengar, do you have any opinions? I'm actually gonna move you because you were facing this way. No? He has nothing. You see, you know that's a Gengar. You know that's a you know he's a ghost. You know I'm not getting into it. I'm not getting into it. We're not getting back into it. Anyway, yeah. So that should be fun. Not looking forward to that whatsoever. Speaking of the election, as a good transition, I mentioned Trump winning in November, and how do I say this? I'm not incredibly enthused. Doth I hear a door? Nope, I doth not hear a door. I'm growing continually worried, concerned for Democrats' chance come November. And the reason for that is because Democrats, as they've kind of done my entire goddamn life, have been just a bit... There we go. Okay, that's better. There we go. Now I'm not so... Actually, wait a minute. But Democrats have just, for whatever reason, probably having to do with, again, their bend towards neoliberalism, have just always kind of been insufficient, I should say, in challenging and I think recognizing their opponents. Democrats have kind of never been able to reckon with where Republicans are and how to properly challenge them. So let's take a look. Disappointment and depression. Biden's biggest fundraisers watch their advantage vanish. Great. Joe Biden's campaign planned to bury Donald Trump in an avalanche of cash. Instead, his allies are bracing for a slugfest without the benefit of a fatter wallet. As financial reports showed, Trump outraising Biden in back-to-back months, hauling in huge sums after his 34 felony convictions and erasing Biden's long-standing financial edge. Quick question. I'm a bit wondering. I'm sure. Let's go take a look. What do we have from the latest poll? Great. They're even. Lovely. They're even. I love to know that that a fucking fascist and the dinosaur that we have in office are even. That's good. That's great. I love that. I absolutely love that. There is nothing I love more than seeing two people who have no business being tied. It's just my favorite thing in the world. It's my favorite thing. Instead of, let's see, Democrats in recent days largely downplayed Trump's new financial lead in the same way Trump's allies had when Biden was running ahead in the money race, saying the president would have enough money to compete. But privately, several Democratic strategists and donors were reeling. What changed over here? Okay. We're reeling. Quote, there was the strategy of raising all this money on the front end so we could have this huge edge, said one Biden bundler, granted anonymity to speak candidly. The whole point of it was to come out with a sizable cash advantage, and we're now even, and it's June. I have no other word for it other than depressing among Biden supporters. Another major Biden bundler, also granted anonymity, called the development disappointing but not surprising. In the 2024 money race, not only was Trump outraising Biden, but he also had more cash on hand, and Republican mega donors too, rolled out enormous checks for Trump in recent days, including $50 million from longtime GOP donor Timothy Mellon, a pro-Trump super PAC. Several Biden donors insisted that they expected and planned for Trump to close the gap after he clinched the Republican nomination, comparing it to when Mitt Romney caught up to then President Barack Obama in fundraising over the summer of 2012. Part of the disparity between the campaigns was that Biden was spending more heavily building, quote, out an unbelievable campaign structure in battleground states, while, quote, Trump has done nothing, said Chip Forster, co-chair of the Biden-Harris Southern Finance Committee. Great. That, quote, that early money counted because it allowed for Biden to build out all of these offices, which have been cranking along, and that's not something Trump can catch up on. Trump can't get back February, March, April, and May when the Biden campaign was getting boots on the ground. The Trump campaign, for its part, has described its in-state infrastructure as leaner, relying far more heavily on outside groups to execute it. Inside the Biden campaign, oh my neck. Aides said that May was their second best fundraising month on the campaign, both in its overall total and in grassroots fundraising, even without a major fundraising event. Like their donors, they pointed to their battleground staffing footprint, which include 200 offices and 1,000 staffers, as money well spent. Quote, our campaign from the moment we've started is more focused on what we're doing with our resources rather than trying to play a game of who's raising what. Quentin Fulks, Biden's deputy campaign manager, said in an interview with Politico, that is where our investments are going, directly into field operations. It wasn't all bad news for Biden on the fundraising front. The Biden campaign said it saw its own fundraising rebound in May after a weak showing in April. Biden also picked up a bump from former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg, who gave $19 million to a pro-Biden super PAC and gave a max-out donation of $1 million to the campaign this week. So keep in mind also, like, all of these, like, big donors who are going to PACs, like, Democrats have a lot of those resources, but there's only so much that those donors are going to be giving after a point, because there's just only so many millions of dollars that you're willing to invest. And in terms of small dollar donors, I'd be interested to see where Biden is, mainly because a lot of small donors are going to be kind of younger folks. And I don't get the sense that younger folks are nearly as enthused about Biden's chances, or about Biden's what's the word I'm looking for? About Biden's what am I thinking? What am I thinking? Biden's actions over the last couple of months as kind of older folks. And if you're older, you probably donate to super PACs a little bit more because you probably have more money, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Old money kind of goes towards PACs at the end of the day. Let's see. Right. Why did this scroll up? Am I crazy? The campaign raised nearly $40 million last week after a glitzy Los Angeles event and another in Northern Virginia. I love that glitzy LA and then Northern Virginia are the two. As a native of Northern Virginia, I can tell you right now, the farthest thing from glitzy. Kessler said a fundraiser featuring First Lady Joe Biden in Philadelphia, scheduled for Monday, is already sold out, and quote, we're putting people on the wait list. And the Biden campaign suggested the most recent reports do not fully account for its financial standing. The campaign said it had $212 million in cash based on pool totals from other joint fundraising committees. The Trump campaign has not yet released its joint fundraising totals yet, and neither can be verified until July, when those committees file with the Federal Elections Commission. And again, another element to that is poor donors are going to be doing more of the grassroots funding, and you're going to see a lot more of that out of Trump. At the end of the day, regardless of how we feel about the Trump campaign or about the Biden campaign, the Trump campaign is going to be getting, I think, probably more smaller donors by the end of all of this. They'll probably get less from those donors, but they're going to have, in terms of volume, more smaller donors than the Biden campaign is going to end up pulling in. That's just kind of my prediction. There we go. I don't think either one of these candidates is going to lose because of the lack of resources. I think they'll have fully funded campaigns that will have more than ample resources to get their message out. But for the first time in the general election campaign, Biden is running behind in the money race. In the reports filed Thursday night, Trump and the Republican National Committee were sitting on $116.5 million in cash, while Biden and the Democratic National Committee have $91.6 million in the bank. Brian Hughes, a Trump campaign spokesperson, said, whoa, oh. Yeah, that doesn't go up more. Okay. Brian Hughes, a Trump campaign spokesperson, said, from fundraising, polling, crowds at public events, or enthusiasm across the board with America's voters, there's more and more evidence that the momentum of President Trump coming out of a historic primary election season is growing. Was it historic? It's pretty boring, honestly, because it was, I don't even know why they bothered, but at the latest surge in fundraising and wiping out the campaign cash advantage in May reflects this. Also, like, I would say, like, you go to a Trump rally and, like, you're seeing so much more commerce being exchanged than if you're going to, like, a Biden rally. In terms of, like, again, volume and the amount of people spending money on Trump's shirts, MAGA merch, everything else. The Democrats argued Trump's May Hall featured a one-time only event with his conviction that juiced small dollar donors. That may not be the case with his sentencing schedule for July, which could trigger another cascade of cash. Democrats also pointed to the upcoming June 27th presidential debate. Marie, question. You're watching my stream, yes? Are the transitions on there like cuts or are they fades? Right now? Well, yeah. Are you talking about on this one? On this one? Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, what I mean, that's what. Yeah, no, like, yeah. I mean, like, what, like, I don't like. I feel like if it's zoomed out, you get like it's a lot of empty space. You know, we have these Rivers right there doing what she does. But yeah, I'm aware. Your AirPods. I don't know where they are. Oh, they're on my desk? Okay. Mary, what do you think of this development? Apparently Trump outraised Biden. They've caught up to them. Yeah. They're sitting flush with cash. They're sitting on 116 mil Democrats are sitting at 91 mil. Democrat L? Are we calling it Democrat L? They have had lose face for a while. It's not looking good. I don't like it. I don't like that Republicans, because I'm trying to think, because like Hillary outspent Trump in 2016 and lost. And Biden, well, yeah, I mean her life is bitter. Bitterness. I'm trying to think. I don't remember who spent more. Who spent most expensive ever? 2020 cost $14.4 billion. Who spent the most? It looks like, no, I know. Trump's campaign raised 774 mil. What did the Biden camp? Okay, let's see. No. I don't care. Democrats heavily outspend in 2020. Okay. It seems like Democrats always spend more, and kind of that doesn't determine W's all the time. That's not good. That's not good. Anyway, we need some more donors to come online, and I think that'll happen, said Bradley Baychok, co-founder of American Bridge, one of the major pro-Biden super PACs. We need everyone on the field engaged in doubling down from what they did in 2020. There are new people stepping up to the plate on their side, and we have some new people on our side. So, like, again, this is that thing where I can't help but go, like, are you guys gonna do well with young voters? Those are the people who you need volume in terms of donors, and I don't see it. I genuinely don't see them pulling Bernie numbers in terms of fundraising from the youths. On Trump's grassroots donors, Biden communications director Michael Tyler, in a statement to Politico, attacked the former president for suckering small donors. Suckering small donors into giving their hard-earned money to pay off the legal fees of a convicted felon, and not spending a dime talking to actual voters. So okay. Can we talk about the hypocrisy and kind of the flippant nature of this? This motherfucker out here has the audacity to criticize Donald Trump and their campaign for suckering small donors and not speaking to voters. Meanwhile, Biden has yet to make any kind of headwind on, that whole genocide thing that's happening. Meanwhile, this entire time, while there have been protests after protests after protests, after college protests, after everything else, and you still have the gall to say that Trump isn't listening to his voters. Like, come on, dude. Fucking spare me. You have young voters out here who have been fucking protesting for months. And then you have a Biden staffer over here like, how dare the Trump org take money and not listen to their fucking donors, not speak to their donors at all. It's like, excuse me? You're not listening to your fucking base. So what the fuck are you talking about? Still, even if dollar amounts Trump raised are not spreading panic in Democratic circles, they're deeply troubled in the support by the support those contributions represent. What Democrats should worry about is that it's even within distance. That money is going on at Trump's side at such a clip. Wait. That money is going on. Okay. You would think a guy who's convicted of crimes would be nowhere near, but he's everywhere financially, and that is a real problem for Democrats. Yeah, no shit, guys. Because at the end of the day, the whole convicted felon thing doesn't really hold that much water. Do you know how many people we didn't convict back in 2008? Like, it's not like you would have to believe that people feel like the justice system is fair and balanced, and they don't. Like, we understand, it's just so stupid. They're so arrogant and so dumb, and they don't understand their voters. The challenger shouldn't even be close on the money side, especially a guy who's convicted of felonies. Fuck off, guys. I hate to say it. I really do. But, the American people just don't care. And the reason for that is mainly because why should they? Like, Democrats have shown so many times that they're not interested in breakage of the law or any of that sort of stuff, unless it's not even like it's an advantageous thing. It's just like we kind of see quite frequently how uneven the justice system is, how uneven justice is in this country. And then we're supposed to suddenly feel like we're supposed to suddenly feel like, oh no, the justice, people get convicted of marijuana possession and went away for multiple years. Totally, those people are convicted felons too. So like you would just have to make the American people believe that the justice system is like fair and balanced, I guess. And they just don't. And like Republicans don't, because they see a guy that they like being convicted. But like Democrats already think the justice system's kind of fucked. So like, what are we even like the confidence of our legal system is already in challenge. So when your main attack is but he's a convicted felon, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of convicted felons out there, and there's a lot of them that are unfair. And like the case against him, while like solid case, convicted, everything else, I got no problem with the case. It's not something that I think people were making their decisions on whether to vote for Biden or vote for Trump on. It wasn't something they were going to make up their mind over. Because at the end of the day, like, falsifying business records is illegal. But did we falsify when all these other corpos fucking falsified their records and crashed the economy and everything else? Did we go after them? No. So it just rings as hollow. It just rings as hollow. Even if it's legitimate, it just rings as hollow. Also, no help that Trump has spent years telling his fans anyone who goes after him is just doing so for political reasons. Yeah, and I mean, he was always going to do that. Like, don't get me wrong, that was always going to be in the cards. And there wasn't ever going to be a degree of separation Democrats could have drawn to avoid that. But like, this is with independence. You need to get independents to suddenly care about wrongdoing in business, for which you've never been interested in running against before. So, but I don't know, man. That's the I'm not gonna say they're gonna lose, but I grow more and more concerned about a potential win. I think week to week, almost, like, certainly. But anyway, woof. All right, let's go take a look at Project 2025. So, if you're aware of Project 2025, a big old plan by the Heritage Foundation, I believe, right? Yes. Project 2025 is the plan drawn up by the Heritage Foundation to essentially convert a lot of this country's, I think, from what I understand reading it, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not deleting, but it is, the plan looks to suspend and weaken a lot of the bureaucratic systems that we have in terms of the, how we run a lot of, like, the FBI, CIA, stuff like that, and trying to kind of trim, I think, the fat and trim the bureaucracy a little bit. But by doing so, it centers a lot more power and a lot more, and a lot more of the decision-making ability, centers that a lot more into the executive branch. This is a problem mainly because when you have this many decisions, or when you have all of these systems and processes that get boiled down to just being under the executive branch's purview, you have you have the danger for abuse by the executive branch to have way too many sweeping abilities. So let's go take a look at a video. I believe this is on MSNBC. Yes, from MSNBC. They interviewed one of the architects for Project 2025. So let's go take a look real quick at what that could look. I guess we could look like we could look at a breakdown really quickly. I guess it's been a little bit since I've talked about it, so the details are a little bit. Oh, I wanted to watch this as well. I wanted to watch this during the Young Voters segment, so we'll do that. But let's see if we can get like a really good. Sure, unbiased. I'll take an unbiased. Oh, okay. That's Can I get a quick one? I just want like a quick. It's Kyle Kulinski. Yep. I've seen that headline a lot. Is there, yeah, really though, is there like a, okay. Presidential weighs in on Biden. No. No, I know. But I want a good, I would do Legion Miller's. It's actually a really good video, but it's too damn long. Okay, we'll just watch this. And I'll see if I can find like a good summary while we watch this. Where's this? Give me this window. We're going to do this.
Associated Press, and we've been reading through some things. And I think we just want to first start with anchoring.
Because keep in mind, I'm not gonna come on here and bullshit with people. And I'm not going to pretend like I know, like I have the tightest grip on the knowledge of, I've seen enough stuff that I'm like, that gives me pause. Let's close the Pokemon window. But I'm not all knowing. And I can never kind of remember all the things for everything. So let's hear from the horse's mouth.
That this plan is a plan that is for anyone. It's not just for Donald Trump. You would like if President Biden would implement some of it, but you don't think that that's going to happen. And so you reject the assertion that this is a plan that was cooked up specifically for the second coming of the Trump administration.
I appreciate that question because as your lobby shows when you walk in, you've got the word.
All right, let's this seems pretty good. 900 pages called for the sacking of thousands of civil servants, expanding the power of the president, dismantling the Department of Education and other federal agencies, and sweeping tax cuts. Heritage Foundation unveiled its agenda. Can I get okay, here we go. Outlines government. Project 2025 proposes that the entire federal bureaucracy, including independent agencies such as the Department of Justice, be placed under direct presidential control, a controversial idea known as unitary executive theory. That's what I was thinking of. I had the word unitary in my mind, but I didn't want to really bring it up because I couldn't remember the rest of it. In practice, that would streamline decision-making, allowing the president to directly implement policies in a number of areas. Proposals also call for eliminating job protections for thousands of government employees who could then be replaced by political appointees. Lovely. Document labels the FBI as bloated, arrogant, and increasingly lawless organization. Great. Immigration, increase the funding for a wall. Okay. It's a waste of money, but that's fine. Climate and economy. Document proposes slashing federal money to research and investment in renewable energies. Calls for the next president to stop the war on oil and natural gas. So, completely overheat the world, kill us all. That's cool. Abortion. Call for nationwide ban. Does not call for, however, proposal withdrawing the abortion pill mifepristone from the market. Interesting concept. Tech and education under the proposals. Pornography would be banned, and the tech and telecoms companies that facilitate access to such content would be shut down. Great. Lovely. Say goodbye to your porn, ladies and gentlemen. Propose to eliminate a long list of terms from all laws and federal regulations, including sexual orientation, diversity, equity, inclusion, gender equality, abortion, and reproductive rights. So say goodbye to equal justice under the law, under sexual orientation, amongst other things. Heritage Foundation is one of the most influential. Okay, that's a quick summary. I'm not going to go more than that. Quick summary. All of that sounds pretty horrendous. Let's hear the arguments.
Word honesty and the word accuracy there. That's an honest and accurate depiction, and I'm grateful. Number one, the Heritage Foundation couldn't do that because we are nonpartisan. We can't be tied to one candidate. Secondly, we have offered.
Has the Heritage Foundation had any history of working with Democrats? or have they been strictly a Republican think tank? Again, you can do like on a technical level, but that's semantics.
For a briefing of Project 2025 dating back to last year to every candidate for presidency, including President Biden.
At the end of the day, like, you can say like, oh, well, this isn't, we're nonpartisan. Like, we'd love to brief President Biden on these topics, even though none of them align with the interests of that party. It's like, well, yeah, like, all of those are are Republican Party talking points and Republican Party like hangups.
Honest to goodness, I would have been thrilled if President Biden and his team asked for a briefing. We understand that we have differences of opinion on just about everything, but at Heritage we believe in telling the truth with a smile on our face. But the last point I should make is that now that President Trump is nominated, and President Biden has not taken a Project 2025 briefing, President Trump is going to make decisions about policy in his administration.
Like, at the end of the day, it's like, okay,
if he wins.
I'm not even gonna. We're not gonna.
2025 is something that's going to transcend the next 4 years, the next 10 years. It really is, for the first time in the history of the conservative movement, the apparatus.
I thought you were nonpartisan. There's only one conservative party in this country, my friend.
That's for policy and personnel. That's the most important thing to remember.
I have one follow-up. It's just that you have said that this plan is about institutionalizing Trumpism. So, because I also know you all, not just the president.
Which, again, is not a bipartisan the ideology. It is strictly a Republican Party ideology.
Of the Heritage Foundation, you're also president of the Heritage Action, which is the political action committee. And so,
do you think they donate to Democrats?
Is it tied to Trump or not?
I said the context for that comment to the New York Times was that the work of the Heritage Foundation was to institutionalize Trumpism. Trumpism as a new version of conservatism. Conservatism.
It's fascism.
That recognizes that by every objective measure, the United States is weaker in 2024 than it was in 1984. We also happen to think that's reversible, by the way. We're ultimately optimists. And
Jeez, it's really funny. He actually says that, and like any Democrat would sit here and probably go, like, any Democrat bootlicking, content creator, for which I am not, would sit here and go, that he can't seriously think we are weaker now than we were in 1984. Is the reason why he picks that 84 number. It's Reagan. But is that true? I think in a lot of metrics, yeah, that is true. Less people can afford housing. Less people are paid livable wages. Less people are able to get out of college and get gainful employment. More people are suffering under high debts. The planet is fucking cooking right now. We are in the midst of a heat wave, a historic heat wave. This country is not weaker because we went down, because we let gays get married, and we let people get trans care when they need it, and because we allow women in the workplace. We're not weaker for any of those things. We're weaker because we've allowed like late stage capitalism to take hold, and we've allowed like private equity to run the board on a lot of our institutions. We've allowed so much money in politics. We've allowed so much private investment into things. Like our economy is so fucked right now. Like, back in 1984, people could buy houses. Back in 1994, people could buy houses. People in 2004 were able to buy houses. And then 2008 happened. It all crashed out from under us. And this country has yet to recover economically from the devastation of the 2008 housing crisis. It just hasn't happened. Rents have gone up. Groceries have gone up. Inflation has continued to rise. Even though now we don't even see inflation from on like a national level. Now it's just greed. It's just companies just price gouging at this point. So is weaker the term? I don't know, but certainly are we more fucked than we were in 84? Probably, yeah. Especially if you're young. God, especially if you're young.
By institutionalizing Trumpism, what we're saying is that even though we are known as Ronald Reagan's think tank, I'm a son of the Reagan Revolution, I'm very proud of that, that's 40 years ago.
Reagan was shit. Reagan set us off on the path of all of this, deregulation and everything else.
Donald Trump, whether someone likes
it. Yeah, fucking Clinton in the 90s, repealing Glass-Steagall, everything. It's just, it all eventually leads back to Reagan. Like that meme it's been memed to death, but like, you want to know why things are such a mess. It's because of Reagan. Strictly because of Reagan.
or not, I happen to like it, is the standard bearer for conservatism.
Well, Michael, what time is it?
Well, I don't think it's time for Trumpism in that regard, because one of the things that, as a lifelong follower and participant in Heritage, having spoken at various times there in the roles that I've played in the party, I see this as a dramatic shift away from those Reaganesque principles when you have someone like Trump who has advocated some of the things he has. But before we get to that, I want to get to the nub of this, because you can't really do anything until you remove what has been identified as the problem, and that is 50,000 federal employees. Axios noted, quote, the massive headhunt.
Also, keep in mind, do you think things are going to get better when 54,000 people just up and lose their jobs? That's taxes that we're not, as a country, that's taxes that we're not collecting. That's money that's not being circulated in the economy. Do you think that many people, like, take a look at a good example of this is, go take a look at Argentina right now. Is it Argentina that Malay's in? Yes. Go take a look at Argentina right now. They also laid off a fuck ton of government workers. Has that solved all of their problems, or has the poverty rate continued to rise?
Hunting quest aims to recruit 20,000 people to serve in the next administration as a down payment on 4,000 presidential appointments, plus potential replacements for as many as 50,000 federal workers who are policy adjacent, as Trumpers put it. Policy adjacent to what? I mean, you're talking about people who've been in federal government. My daddy was a federal government employee, so I would be really appalled thinking that he could be on someone's chopping block because they think he is part of some deep state.
And keep in mind, the Republican Party, like, broadly, the conservative movement in this country has been heading in this direction for multiple decades now. Alex Jones was talking about the deep state and, like, all of the New World Order, all that sort of stuff. Guys like him, guys like any of the guys on talk radio have been talking about this for decades. For decades, they've been hitting on this, and they've been over that amount, over all of those years, prepping their audiences to be ready for when the when the executive branch purges thousands of jobs and replaces them with political allies, like replaces them with people who are more what's the word, who are more loyalists to the MAGA movement. And how many times have you heard, how many times over the decades have I heard Alex Jones, Mark Levin, Rush Limbaugh, rest in piss, all of those sorts of guys talk about the conspiratorial nature of the bureaucratic state in our institutions. How often would they say, like, oh, this is the institution working against the president, who's the will of the people, and all this stuff? How often did they rail against just regular federal workers, saying that they were in bed with the deep state, all that sort of stuff? And again, like, the deep state lingo and terminology only really started maybe about more in the Trump era, but they were on that talking point since the 90s, since the 2000s. So
effort. How
this is
talk to us about what that
this
looks
is
like.
water boiling
if
over.
Heritage is calling for removing 50,000 federal employees. Who are you replacing them with? And where do they come from? I mean, even if it's not 50,000, if it's 10,000, if it's 2,000.
And keep in mind, any Republicans out there, would you be comfortable with Democrats firing thousands of conservative federal workers and replacing them with Democrat ones? Would you? I bet to you think that's already happened. I hate to break it to you, it hasn't.
Where are they coming from, and who are you replacing them with? Because I suspect a lot of those people you're talking about have been in the federal service for a long time and have served not just Republican administrations, but also Democratic administrations, et cetera.
They have. And 95% of them who give political contributions give them to the Democratic Party.
Wait, that doesn't work against your argument. He just said that there are thousands of workers who work in under both kinds of administrations and continue to do their job. You arguing, yeah, but they give a bunch of money, but when we check their donations, it's mostly to Democrats. Okay, can you show me bias then? Because if you can't show me bias, you've proven the point that obviously these workers are able to do their jobs and not let the politics get in the way of that.
I reject out of hand, Michael, that somehow
you're going to fire someone because they wrote a check to a Democratic candidate.
No, we're going to fire someone, and the number needs to be more than 50,000, considering that there are more than 2 million federal employees. Because over the last century, the radical left has seen the administrative state as the fourth branch of government. They're unelected bureaucrats. Nothing against your dad, obviously, as a human being. You know that about me and Heritage. But ultimately, we have to devolve power from the imperial city of Washington back to the people.
Because he wrote a check to a Democratic candidate without any appreciation or understanding where his political allegiance.
We will dramatically reform agencies that take right.
Like, we will dramatically, no, just fucking say it with your chest, dude. Just fucking say it. You're going to fire Democrat supporting federal workers. And again, if you're a Republican, would you be okay with like, you know, your uncle who works for local, you know, fucking local water or whatever the fuck, or like, you know, works for the EPA, whatever. They're a Trump supporter. They like Trump. They get fired, not because they've done their job bad, not because they've done anything wrong, but simply because they made the wrong donation to the wrong party. Would you be okay with that? I know none of you would. And like this whole concept of like, well, you know, the radical left, first of all, I'm the radical left. We're not in power. You can cope about that all you want. My politics are not represented in any part of government that isn't like the squad wing and Bernie Sanders. So like you can fuck off with all of that. I am the radical left, and I'll tell you, I've been rather disheartened by both the last two Democratic administrations. So you can spare me on that talking point. But like at the end of the day, this notion that like, oh, well, the Democrat, you know, radical left sees the bureaucratic system as the fourth wing of government. Brother, you're in the heritage. Have you ever heard of the Federalist Society? You don't think that there isn't something nefarious going on with a well-funded organization placing judges throughout this country and into the Supreme Court, ushering them up through the system to get them into positions of power in this country? And if you think those two things are the same thing, you're insane. Because judges have far more power than any pencil pusher in like the EPA or the NLRB or what's the CFPB? Yeah. So like, no, I'm sorry. These are unarguable.
It's away from their job. Why does that matter?
They're doing their job about a mission that's misaligned. For example, the U.S.
And keep in mind, you'd have to also prove that these people are even engaging in wrongdoing or in bias. Not once have they sourced. Better not be a cat on top of this, Rick. Not once has this guy said, oh, we find that more federal employees donate to Democrats, even though, like, it's kind of obvious Democrats better fund federal agencies than Republicans do, so it's kind of within their interest. But not once has he said, and we find that they more often, what's the word I'm looking for? Engage in bias in the workplace. That isn't an argument they've made. That isn't an argument they've made whatsoever. So, like, what are we talking about? It's literally you're not allowed to donate.
Department of Education. Thankfully, President Trump deserves credit for saying that he wants to end the Department of Education. That means that employees
in the Department of Education,
even if they've been serving that mission with great confidence,
completely
will have to go look for
nuke
another job. What's more important than that, Michael?
Ending the Department of Education. Say goodbye to your child's education. You will now, instead of sending your kid to public school for $0 you can now go and compete with the rich kids' parents to get your kid into a good school. Oh, you can't afford that? Guess what? Your bitch ass can now either homeschool your kid. Good luck having the time to do that and the resources, the money, everything else. Or you can send them to a vastly underfunded subpar school that they were already going to. So well done. Well done.
Is that we actually have a delivery mechanism for education in this country that reflects the 21st century. So at Heritage, we see this a very different way. You want to look at it from the lens of unelected bureaucrats, most of whom, not your dad, I guess, who want to say that they are more important than the everyday American. We want to look at it from the standpoint of the everyday American and say it's time that they are put in the driver's seat rather than unelected bureaucrats.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. All of those people are also voters. What do you mean that you're putting the people in power? All you're doing is restructuring the actual, like, all you're doing is restructuring the government and putting everything under the executive branch. Keep in mind, a branch in which a winner could, like, you can have a sitting president frequently, especially if you're a Republican, that does not win the majority of votes in this country. So how is that putting the power in the people's hands?
But they aren't going to be in the driver's seat because they aren't going to be doing the jobs. The folks you're identifying who are Trump aligned are the ones who are going to be coming in.
You are positing that those people are incompetent. And I can tell you from looking.
Nope, nobody's positing that. It's not that they're incompetent. It's that they're biased and that they are put in place for a explicit political reason. Like, they're put in place to very specifically align with the executive branch on everything. Like, that's the whole idea. You put cultists in place because they're gonna do cult shit.
At the resumes of the 11,000 that they're very well
as
qualified.
much as you're thinking I'm positing these people are incompetent, you're positing that they're somehow.
I mean, they probably are because they're conservatives. But
why does the
what can I say?
Protection Agency have 350
Have you identified them?
If I could interject, because I did actually work for the federal government, and I worked with a number, as did the chairman, and I worked with a number of those we call them civil servants in the United States government, people who are not political appointees, and they have the institutional knowledge.
If only they acted that way.
Well, I think Alicia has a question.
Would you like to quantify that, sir? Would you like to do anything other than just say it's just that's it? Not
those lines about
nothing. No, seriously, ask him. Explain. Tell me what you're talking about. Show me the bias.
Policy priorities that you all have identified in Project 2025.
I actually, Dr. Roberts, have a question about this upcoming election. Is your organization going to accept the results of the 2024 presidential election?
Oof.
I believe that Dr. Roberts can't hear. So Alicia just asked, is your organization going to accept the results of the 2024 election, regardless of the outcome?
Yes, if there isn't massive fraud like there was in 2020.
So the answer is no, unless Trump wins, in which case the answer is yes.
What does that mean?
There isn't massive fraud.
Do you believe that there
Wait, do you believe that?
was not
Ask
massive
him.
fraud?
There was massive fraud. We have an election fraud database that has documented that over years. By the way, the Heritage Foundation.
Wait, do you mean like over multiple elections there's been a level of fraud? Of course there was if you stack all of it. But individual, if it, like that, Jesus Christ, these fucking people, I swear to God. It's literally like if you bought, it would be like if you bought like I'm trying to think of like a good analogy here. Like at the end of the day, I can't think of one, but at the end of the day, like if you tracked elections all the way from the beginning of this country and you stacked up every case of election fraud, you'd probably have a lot because we've run quite a lot of elections. I don't know if this guy knows that. Whereas if you went election by election, you would find that there is a consistently low pattern of election fraud over the course of each election, as opposed to like, oh well, like if you just lump it all together, it's like a huge number. Like, yeah, no shit, this country's been around for like 300 years.
Foundation has been concerned about election integrity for decades, not just about 2020. We've been documenting this problem for a very long time. And if one of the
I believe, according to the Heritage Foundation, sir, by your count, Heritage Foundation has done an investigation, and according to your count, there have been 1,513 proven instances of voter fraud across the United States since 1982.
Yeah, that's probably
1513 1,000 fit. We do more people in my building. Fucking get the fuck out of here, dude. Fuck off.
1,513.
Since the 1980s, this motherfucker says mass fraud, and he can account for, his organization has accounted for like the population of one movie theater. Fucking spare me, dude.
hard to document. And the Democrat Party is very good at fraud.
It's hard to document. Yep.
Here,
Okay. Yep. What a fucking clown, dude. What an absolute fucking clown. No wonder he's bald.
Poll after this election where every American believes their vote was counted. I care as deeply about someone on the political left with whom I disagree, saying that they have confidence in the outcome of the election. It seems rather than turn this into a partisan conversation, which you do a good job of at MSNBC, we might say we aspire to something more noble, which is.
Well, it's too bad Republicans are the only ones who don't have confidence in our elections because they've been told year over year over year that there's fraud, even though they've never been shown evidence of fraud by people like you, asshole. Christ.
Every American believes their vote counts.
I mean, I don't think it's...
Every American doesn't have to... Hey, here's the secret. Every American doesn't have to believe that. If you're fucking conservative, you have fucking brainworms, you're a dipshit, you fucking ate glue for 5 years when you were growing up. I'm sorry, I can't help you. There is no evidence of election fraud, of mass election fraud. Sorry, there's like 1,500 cases over the course of 40 years. Sorry, it just doesn't exist. If that doesn't give you confidence, then I don't know how you get dressed in the morning. I can't help you. Nobody can help you. You're without an ability to be helped. Please go stick your head in the sand and don't vote. That's all I can say.
Partisan to ask if you will accept the results of the election. Alicia, I don't know if can you hear Alicia now?
Yeah,
Alicia, do you have another question?
I can hear. I do have another question. I'm specifically interested as it relates, Dr. Roberts, to the deportation of immigrants in this country, just understanding sort of how it is going to work when we talk about folks on the interior, how you see a future administration utilizing the National Guard.
Good luck with that economy, by the way, when you deport all of the people who are picking all of our fruit and working in all of our meat factories. Good luck with that economy, bud.
ICE police forces to deport.
By the way, I don't really think they're ever going to do it. I don't think they're ever going to do it.
Did you hear?
They know that it would be devastating to
immigration,
to the
and
economy.
How you see immigration, how
they know.
In this plan, how you talk about using the National Guard to deport individuals. What is the Alicia? And do tell me if I am adequately
people on the interior
summarizing.
specifically,
people
not
on
the
the interior specifically, not people in the border, people within this country.
Well, first of all, we need to close the border. And secondly, we need to have the biggest mass deportation system ever in the history of America because it is unjust and illegal and evil that more than 10 million illegal aliens have come to this country.
Wait. It's okay. One second. Because it's what?
The biggest mass deportation system ever in the history of America because it is unjust and.
Okay. What's unjust about it? People want to live here because where they live sucks because if they're coming from South America, destabilize the region?
Illegal and evil that.
What is evil about wanting to come to America? I mean, is America evil? Debatable?
More than 10 million illegal aliens have come to this country. It's imperative that we send those people.
To do what? Work the jobs Americans don't want to for wages Americans won't accept? Jeez. We've really been put upon in this country.
Back, invite them back to come through the legal system. We love immigrants at Heritage, but we also love the rule of law.
So how do you plan to carry that out?
Well,
are you talking about going door to door?
Again, nobody has. Do you notice nobody ever mentions what the actual issue is? Because and we'll look at it later, specifically the topic of immigration. But do you notice that he didn't mention there's this huge this huge trend of immigrants destabilizing the neighborhood, the neighborhoods and the communities that they're in. Does that happen? No. Oh, there's a bunch of immigrants that don't pay their taxes. Nope, they do that. Like, what is it, guys? What is the harm being committed here?
Or because that's what I mean, I could read from the plan, but I think
The first thing is that there's going to be a lot of self-deportation. The interesting thing, as you no doubt know, is that simply talking about this and beginning to implement a plan, and President Trump deserves a lot of credit for talking about this, causes people to say, I don't want to run the risk of being arrested for doing something illegal. But secondly, there are great plans using the Department of Homeland Security to return these people back to south of the border. The great thing is, even a majority of people on the political left agree with this because they see the damage that this has done.
Before we go,
I think we want to take a couple more minutes,
yeah,
and so I
I'm
know
just
we're being
gonna
told to
ask you
wrap, but
real
we want to take a few more minutes.
I'll stay as long as you want.
No. Just ask you real quick. So, what do these people do? What are they doing now?
Which people?
The folks, the 11 million, 20 million, whatever you want to deport.
A lot of them are committing
They're working.
crimes like
No, they're not. They're not. Not on a significant level. I'll do it. I'll do it. It's fine. It's fine. I'll do it. I'll do it every time. Let's go take a look. I wonder if he's gonna mention the thing we're gonna watch later. Where to? Let's go take a look. Research. Let's. Which one do we want? Do we want NPR? March 8th, July 21st of last year? Nope. Let's go this one. Jesus Christ. Can I get the extensive? Here we go. Oh God. Can I just get the? Can I get the thing? Can I get the? Where's the thing? We think I don't give a fuck about who. Abstract. We provide the first nationally represented long-run series 1870 to 2020 of incarceration rates for immigrants immigrants and U.S. born. As a group, immigrants have had lower incarceration rates than the U.S. born for 150 years. Moreover, relative to the U.S. born, immigrants' incarceration rates have declined since 1960. Immigrants today are 60% less likely to be incarcerated, 30% relative to U.S. born whites. This relative decline occurred among immigrants from all regions that cannot be explained by changes in immigrants' observable characteristics or immigration policy. Instead, the decline is part of a broader divergence of outcomes between less educated immigrants and U.S.-born counterparts. How many times do we have to do this? And we're going to be on this again later. We're going to talk very explicitly about immigration later. I'm also going to save this for my quick reference, actually. Okay. Let's call this one. Let's just do immigrants less crime. Let's just do that. That's good. So I don't ever have to Google that again. God damn, man. They lie so fucking brazenly.
Murdering the 12-year-old girl in Houston. In fact,
So that's
we're very
one.
concerned
That's
about
one
that.
out of 11 million. What is the?
We
what
can
is
take the
actual-
remaining time of the segment, and I can give you a lot
In
of examples
Texas,
of this.
undocumented immigrants were 37.1% less likely to be convicted.
Like I said, we will get into that, and this is the same racist bullshit that you always see is immigrant fear mongering over immigrant crime, even and like hyper focusing on one account when you could absolutely like at the end of the day, if you covered every single story of an immigrant committing crime, you would give viewers the impression that immigrants are committing this rash of crime. But that's only if you just never cover like native born crime. If it's like, well, look, like the news is, it's all what you focus on. And obviously they focus on immigrant crime again, because they're racists. But like, oh my God, it's just, it's so demonstrably untrue. It's laughably untrue. And it's been known for years now. That article that we just looked at was from 2020, meaning for 4 fucking years that has existed. And Heritage Foundation is just like, yep, nope, doesn't exist.
Convicted of a crime, undocumented immigrants, and according to a survey, University of California Riverside study, 33% less likely to be in prison as of 2021.
You fucking dipshit. That's one case out of how many immigrants? Like, you're gonna tell somebody like, oh, hey, like, tell that to fucking, tell that to the family. Hey, your family member got killed. Just to let you know, like, the actual crime rate amongst immigrants is rather low. Do you think those people are actually asking that question? And also, what a fucking demonic thing to say. To use that family, that suffering family, as a fucking bludgeon. You fucking snake. You fucking, oh my God, the ninth circle with you.
I'm just giving the numbers.
Well, what do you tell the parents of those people, those young girls who were killed? This is absurdity.
Crime happens. Guess what? Like, what are the cops gonna do? Tell the family? Sorry to break it to you, but actually, this is actually pretty rare. Statistically speaking, I'm surprised that you didn't get killed by a native-born citizen, since they're more likely. Like, what do you mean? That's a micro issue. You're talking about a macro. You're talking about a broad change to federal, United States federal, like, immigration policy on the basis of what? One crime committed by one immigrant in one county in one state? Fuck off.
The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So
we don't
undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
Undocumented individuals versus.
Like, who cares the term? I genuinely don't care about the terminology. It's whatever the terminology is, terminology. But, like, if you would like to make a change to U.S. Immigration policy, you should probably have a better grasp of the issue than there was one murder at one time by a person who was an immigrant. Because by that logic, we should be deporting more native-borns, not immigrants.
Anyone else who commits the same crime. Well, I mean, so what you're saying is because you have this instance of individuals behaving badly, that's a reflection of every individual in that community, and that's just not the case.
No,
is it?
What is the case is that because the preponderance.
I mean, what percentage of those people, the 11 million that you want to deport?
I'll answer your question.
I just want to clarify my question. Okay. That's what I'm trying to do. What percentage of those individuals?
He doesn't have a percentage. It's that they're brown, and he doesn't like brown people, and he would like to see more white people. That's his entire answer. He's going to dance around it, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, I want less browns and more whites need to have babies. That's his real answer.
That you want to get rid of, move out of the country, actually commit crimes.
Our analysis in Texas, Georgia, and New York shows that a preponderance.
Geez, 3 states, Texas, Georgia, and New York. 3 of the most populous states. Gotcha.
Of the illegals who have come in
I don't know what's that number.
Are unattached male, and there are unattached males, and the disproportionate number of them are people who are not even making any attempt to be legal.
But what is that number?
Wait, is it illegal to be an unattached male? Whatever the fuck that means. Is that like a problem?
Obviously,
are you
a large
talking
number
10
of them
out
have
of
committed.
1,000, or are you talking? I'm just trying to get.
Well, I just would say, and if Alicia were sitting here and you could hear her, she would say that you are weaponizing a horrific murder to smear 11 million people.
That is a laughable assertion. What Joe Biden
that's the only logical assertion.
Before we let you go, Dr. Roberts, I do want to ask you.
Yeah, just talk over him. No, just talk over him. Just talk over him. Bald dipshit. That is at the top of mind for folks all over this country right now, waiting on a case from the Supreme Court, EMTALA. In Louisiana, in places all over this country, abortion care is unavailable to people that may need it. You and the organization in this plan talks about changing the Department of Health and Human Services to the Department of Life. Do you think that... Yeah, but dipshit stuff. Okay, does that mean... Okay, wait. If we're changing it to the Department of Life, does that mean we're going to secure people's housing then? Because you do need housing to live. Are we going to be providing food for people? You do need food and water to live. Is that what we're going to do? Women
in America should be able to get an abortion if that is what their doctor says they need.
Abortion's not health care. I find it really interesting.
It's funny coming from a guy to say that.
Support the change of the department name to the Department of Life. I thought we were all in support of life.
Well, unfortunately, life doesn't mean the things that life means. Life under the Republican Party and conservative interpretation does not include food, water, shelter, or any of the other things. It literally just means coming out of the womb and breathing. That's literally it. That's literally it. There's a reason why all of these pro-life organizations have no interest when it comes to feeding kids, housing kids, making sure that they get an education, all of the rest of the things that make your life worth living or even livable at all.
We believe eminently in women's rights, and particularly women's rights in the womb. And so the real question that you should be asking
I just want to know, if I may, though, because I do ask the question too. So.
I love when these kinds of guys like completely like nuke the question. What did I just hear? Do you need to come in? Oh, okay. Hello. Am I being joined by the other cat as well? He was yelling at the door. Well, he's been very well. He probably hears this bald dipshit talk about abortion, and is like, "No, you're stupid. I'm a cat and I know more than you." Okay, you hanging out? All right, I guess I'm getting both cats today. River looks thrilled. It's fine if he wants to be in here. He can be in here. I'll kick them out if they start being. I mean, if he jumps on the rig, he's getting kicked out. That's the rule, Miso. No sitting on the rig, bud. That's the rule. River's just glaring at me now. What? Go back to sleep. Ain't nobody asked you. Go back to sleep. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I love when guys like this don't want to answer the question, so they ramble and then they go, the question you should be asking me, the one that I would like to answer is this one. Like, nah, answer the question.
The people
I just want to know, do you
supporting
believe
legislation that abortion can happen until 3 days after the person's born? This is an absurd framing by this network.
It's not abortion.
That is an absurd assertion. As a person with an actual womb, I'm telling you that does not happen.
So
but let me just back up.
Legislators in California, Virginia, New York, who
Dr.
actually
Roberts,
filed those bills.
Does heritage and
Is that what the bill says, or does the bill just allow for abortions? Like, I don't know. Like, we're not getting into it. We're not getting into it because this guy's full of shit anyway, so it doesn't matter.
25 believe that a woman should be able to have an abortion if her doctor says that she needs one. It's a yes or no question.
Abortion is not health care.
So
abortion
that is
is
a
the
no?
murder of a human being.
All
okay,
right,
cool.
Well,
So, okay.
I disagree thoroughly
figured
with
you might.
Dr. Kevin Roberts, but I am so glad that you were here, and we are.
Ugh, civility. Get me out of here. Disgusting civility politics. MSNBC, do better. You have this disgusting human on your fucking program, and that's how you sign off? Ugh. For God's sakes. Have some self-respect, people. What is this? Oh yeah, that's right. Louisiana passed that 10 Commandments thing. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. I remember hearing about that. Hilarious stuff. Okay, well, we have two cats with us hanging out, apparently. Let's see. Oh, no. There we go. All right, cool. Wait, what did that say? Oh, okay, cool. Excellent. All right. Let's do that. All right. Gen Z is the unhappiest generation. Yeah, I wonder why. Why wouldn't they? Like, no, really. Like, I'm looking at my YouTube recommendations, but it's just like, I can't help but ask, like, isn't it kind of obvious? Like, why wouldn't they be? There's so many things that are, like, there's so many things that are that if you're Gen Z, you just kind of come in and you're just fucked immediately. So many things working against you. Okay. So I said we talk about immigration, and we will, but before we do that, let's go take a look at our latest summer shootings, and then we'll take a look at some we'll go over some 2A content. You know me, you know I love I love responding to 2A. Oh no. I just saw a video that's the boy that's complaining about the boys. and how they've destroyed their audience. Man, I wish, okay, there is a part of me that does genuinely wish that I watched The Boys like previously. I don't watch it. I don't have Amazon, so I don't watch it. But it also never really appealed to me. But I like there's a part of me that like had I known it was going to take this turn, I might have stomached it. You know, I might have been like, "You know what? This might not be for me, but like I want to be there when this happens." There's an element to that like I cannot help but really be interested in really want to do. That just sounds the people losing their fucking minds over the Boys is pretty funny cuz it's kind of obvious from based on like what I've seen from people online that it's always been a critique of right-wing politics. Like it always has been there. It's just most of those viewers, those right-wing viewers are like media illiterate. So like they thought that the show was like, you know, appreciative of them, I guess. So that's all. That's immensely funny. Anyway, mass shootings. So this weekend we saw a rash of mass shootings. First weekend of summer. Let's go take a really quick look and then we'll respond to dumb talking points. The first weekend of summer brought a tragic yet familiar pattern for American cities racked by gun violence as mass shootings left dozens dead or wounded at a party in Alabama, an entertainment district in Ohio, and a grocery in Arkansas. It was the second straight weekend that saw an outbreak of mass shootings across the U.S., prompting mayors in places marred by the violence to plead for help. In Michigan, a deputy was fatally shot while pursuing a suspected stolen vehicle in what the county sheriff described as an ambush. A Philadelphia police officer was critically wounded Saturday after pulling over a car with 4 people. Police in Montgomery, Alabama, said hundreds of rounds were fired at a crowded party early Sunday, leaving 9 people wounded. Interim Police Chief John Hall said investigators recovered more than 350 different spent shell casings. This senseless violence just has to stop, said Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed, who called it a blessing that no one died, while also asking for help in keeping guns out of the hands of criminals. Gunfire also broke out early Sunday on the main street of a popular restaurant and entertainment district near downtown Columbus, Ohio. So, not shocking at all. The United States has once again fallen victim to our love, obsession, and frivolous approach to gun ownership and gun violence in this country. We've covered shootings before. Oh. Yes? Do you desire to... You just got here, Misa. Okay. That's fine. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna... That's fine. Why do you ask to come back here if you're just going to ask to leave? Go on. The boy, like many boys, does not know what he wants. I don't know what to say. Anyway, where was I? Right. Better not be him meowing back at the door. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, gun violence continues in this country. So we've covered mass shootings before. We've covered kind of a lot of these topics. The fix is kind of obvious, I think, at this point. Actually having universal federal background checks, that would obviously, fix a lot of those issues. Red flag laws would allow people to report folks who are seeming to be heading in a dangerous direction. I'm fine with the waiting periods, even though I don't really think they're all that. Even though I don't love them, and I don't really think they're a fix-all. But certainly, like, waiting periods is fine. Restrictions on guns for people who have committed domestic abuse or any kind of other violent crime, that's fine. And, like, at the end of the day, like, a lot of this stuff has to be federally enforced and federally, these need to be federal laws, in my opinion. And the reasoning for that is not because, I'm some left-wing crazy who would like to take your guns away. No, it's none of that. It's simply that because we have a variance among states in terms of their gun laws, you have a variance of effective gun laws. States like let me think. States like Massachusetts, let's say, the safest state for gun violence in this country is the way it is safe because it is surrounded by other fairly restrictive states. You have New York, that's obviously a pretty restrictive state. New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, all of these states are, while not like, while not New York, as far as I'm aware, they are more restrictive than like, the southern states, for example, or even a lot of the Midwestern states, where gun laws just kind of don't exist. It's just kind of a free-for-all for a lot of folks. And because of that, Massachusetts has been able to continue to be the safest state in the country in terms of gun violence. And so that's why I would argue for federal legislation as opposed to state legislation, although state legislation is good unless you have surrounded your state with other states of similar laws and similar tones and tenors. The region is still like, you're going to inevitably get illegal firearms into your state because the next state over just isn't as good about this. A good example is Chicago and like the state of Illinois and specifically Chicago. Constantly cited by the right wing as dangerous, but yet there's a lot of gun laws. The reason why the harsh gun laws, these strict gun laws in Illinois and in Chicago specifically don't work are because they are surrounded by loose states. That is why a lot of the guns that make it into Chicago, into those neighborhoods, get transferred from Michigan, from Ohio, from all of these other Midwestern states that don't have gun laws. Those all get transferred and trafficked into the state and then make it onto the streets of Chicago where more people are, obviously, blah, 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 blah. You're going to see more gun violence because you're going to see more of all violence. Therefore, it becomes a worse place for gun violence than a few others in terms of like density wise. So like that's why, and because of that, it's the same reason why you don't see as much in terms of like deadly gun violence in a state like California. While there is certainly gun violence, you don't see it as much because California is so large, it's hard to traffic into the state. Your other options are like what? Arizona, which I don't like. Arizona, like the neighboring states are Arizona, Nevada, and Oregon. And Oregon, like gun laws are, to my knowledge, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look at that map, actually. I have that map. Where is it? Fire mortality. Let's go take a look at the map. Yeah, so like, so taking a look at the map, like these three states, obviously very low states. But the only other two are these are in Nevada and Arizona. And to my knowledge, the gun laws there are certainly a lot less. I'm gonna assume they're kind of similar to Colorado's. In which case, but like trafficking into California, just see how much land. Whereas if it's Illinois, where's Illinois in this? And if it's in Chicago, you have all of this, specifically Missouri and Arkansas that neighbor you, and all of these, which have looser gun laws. California only has Nevada and Arizona. So that's also, and it's why, in terms of gun laws, they need to be federal. It needs to be everybody under the same laws so that you get results that are consistent throughout the country. Now, Republicans don't want that, obviously, because they believe in smaller government, states' rights, all of that sort of stuff. So they want gun laws to fit, per state. But what that gets you, obviously, are like Texas, which, it gets you this rolling where the Northeast is incredibly safe, the West Coast is pretty safe, but the South is incredibly unsafe, and the Deep South is incredibly unsafe. You have these big swaths of dangerous zones that just so happen to all be Republican-leaning red states. So that's why. Like, at the end of the day, like, Republicans represent more dangerous states for gun violence and demand that the rest of the country be kind of held to that same standard, or that, we don't address all of this with one bill that would shore up a lot of these places. But you know, what can I say? It's Republicans working hard, as they always do, to make the lives of its citizens worse and more dangerous. It's just the thing that they are good at, I suppose. Anyway, getting back to what this is going to lead to. With this movement, with the broader 2A movement, you always have content creators. You always have people who are funded, are given, who are funded, who have partnerships, who have everything else with gun manufacturers, with gun gun accessory brands, to which we turn to, as per usual, my favorite punching bag, Colion Noir, black conservative gun owner, kind of like, hitting all of the bases so that a Republican, so that a conservative, so that a MAGA supporter can say, I'm not racist. My favorite gun content creator is a black guy, who thinks guns, if we just gave people more guns, like in all of, where's my list again? If only more people owned more guns, like in all of these states, they'd be safer. In the face of all possible logic. But let's go take a look at his response to some Jon Stewart. Always love us some Jon Stewart here. And claiming to debunk the talking points, but let's debunk the debunker, shall we? And let's kind of knock a few of these down. This is always fun for me. As somebody, by the way, somebody who's a gun owner, I like guns. I have no problem with firearms, but these kinds of people irritate the fuck out of me.
Recently, Jon Stewart did one of his monologues where he wraps jokes around half political truths and outright lies with no context to make people who are far left feel like they're smarter than they really are.
We are. Well, maybe not smarter than we really are, but certainly smarter than conservatives. This is true.
This one was about
on average,
the
more
GOP's
educated, better
city crime narrative, and of course he dove into the topic of guns, and of course it was exactly what I described above, and now I'm here to debunk it so you can share it with your far left friends so they can realize that John and his writers have no idea what they're talking about. Pay attention, because
I love the arrogance of this guy's videos every time. First of all, starts off with like a whole like, oh, Jon Stewart's not funny. Fucking spare me, dude. Don't even at me with this Jon Stewart's not funny anymore nonsense. Come on, stop it. We all know Jon Stewart is and has always been a excellent political commentator, especially when it comes to like involving like intertwining that with comedy. What do we more constructive is most of our collective labor went to making sure we have a functioning infrastructure and everyone's basic needs are fulfilling instead of being wasted on further enrichment of the capitalist class? Goddamn. Fucking spitting gamer jam. Goddamn.
Because this is gonna go kind of fast.
First of all,
yeah, like wouldn't all of our tax dollars be better spent going back to us, the American people, and our interests and the things that we benefit, that would actually benefit us, like better infrastructure and everything? Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's like, why spend the money on that? And instead we line the pockets of weapons manufacturers by continuing to engage and allow for a genocide in Gaza. I wonder why.
I'm surprised Trump is scared of guns at all, considering he thinks they sound like this.
We had our beautiful Marine standing there, bing, 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 bing. You know, in the old days, bing, bong.
Bing bong. Bing bong. Bing bing bing.
Is he gonna? Okay, how much you want to bet? How much you want to bet he's gonna get into a whole tirade about how if Jon Stewart, knew anything, he would know that the bing sound is from when you hit target. What are they? Aren't they like metal targets? Or not? They're not metal. But like in competition shooting, you have they use like metal targets, sort of, and he's probably going to be like, if you had ever been to a shooting competition, you would know that bing sound actually comes from shooting competitions. Poindexter.
I would pay good money to hear Trump describe the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. Bing, 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 and then the Nazis, bang, bang. Bang, bang. Nobody can get bread. Bang, 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 bing, bing.
I mean, if you're gonna get technical here, that's pretty much how it sounds when a bullet hits a still target.
fucking knew it. I told you he'd say the steel targets. God, dude, these like imagine getting that hung up that you made a video to go like, excuse me, the ping sound, the ding sound that you're describing is actually the sound of a bullet hitting a steel target at high velocities. If you knew anything about guns, you would have known that. Like,
just saying.
But the point is, if you leave,
I knew it. It's so petty. It's so petty. And this is what all, by the way, this is what all 2A content creators sound like. They all just take little petty swipes of like, you don't know the difference between a magazine and a clip. You don't, you couldn't tell me the difference between an RMR site and a dot site. You can't. It's like, it's all just Poindexter bullshit. It's like, guys, I don't give a fuck. Nobody cares. There are lives being lost in multiple states by the thousands each year that don't happen across the world. They only happen here. And it's just, it's like, it's the same reason why like everyone's eyes glaze over whenever like the PC nerd gets to talking about like their RTX debba and their everything else, as everyone goes like, for fuck's sake, dude, please stop. I get it. You have a hobby. Like, I understand. I get it. I know the difference between a suplex and a brainbuster, and the average American probably doesn't know the difference. But do you see me making whole videos like, excuse me, if you knew anything, you would know that the more downward vertical drop would indicate a brainbuster and not just a standing vertical suplex? Like, we get it. You have a hobby, but come on, your hobby costs people their lives.
To all of our audience members, glad you chose to have your last moments with us. And I say this,
especially some of those sequels.
Respect.
That sequel trilogy was awful.
These right-wing motherfuckers talking about how there's too much gun crime and chaos in our democratic cities.
That's what I really should be asking, actually. 1 second. Wait 1 moment while let me go make sure I'm even allowed to show all of this.
Republicans are the ones who've enabled the flood of illegal weaponry into our cities in the first place.
John, the Republicans aren't saying there's too much gun violence in liberal cities because of guns. They're saying there's too much gun violence in liberal cities because liberal-run cities are notoriously lax on crime. That's
first of all, again, that has nothing to do with, first of all, those are two different topics. People don't buy guns because they're crime. People buy guns because they like guns. And people don't traffic. Like I already covered this in the beginning. The reason why cities see more gun violence, not on average, just more as a raw number, is because there are more people. There are more people in cities, meaning you are going to get more homelessness, more crime, more of everything, because there's more people.
That's why the top 5 cities for gun violence, St. Louis, Birmingham, Portsmouth, and Detroit, and Memphis, are all Democrat-led cities. And of the largest Republican-led cities, Jacksonville, Fort Worth, Oklahoma, Tulsa, and Omaha, not one of these Republican-led cities even make the list for even top 10 for gun violence.
Ooh, do you think he's talking about per capita, or do you think he's talking about raw numbers? Because if you want to compare per capita, that's an actual way. Let's go take a look. Also, by the way, I'm making sure that YouTube isn't or not YouTube, because YouTube's already upset with me after they struck me, bastards. Okay, it doesn't seem like Twitch is upset for having Jon Stewart on the screen, which is good. I deeply appreciate that. Let's close this. All right, so which cities was he talking about?
Republican-led cities, Jacksonville, Fort Worth, Oklahoma, Tulsa.
Jacksonville. Let's go Jacksonville. I've heard things about Jacksonville. Let's go take a look. Nearly all Jacksonville murders last year involved gun violence. So let's go take a look. As Jacksonville police investigated 4 weekend shootings. Oh, I think I remember covering this. I Care to Interfaith Coalition for Action, Reconciliation, and Empowerment hosted a community of discussion Monday. We are not the we have So what you're telling me, are you telling me, Collier Noir, that Jacksonville has a higher percentage of gun violence, but a lower number of overall shootings because there is a lower number of people in that actual city? It's almost like if you adjust for per capita, meaning you compare apples to apples, it seems like all of those cities, like if I go look up the others, if I go look up Fort Worth, do you think I'm going to see a higher gun violence rate? Again, I can do this with the states, which, by the way, if the state has a higher gun violence rate, then that would kind of tell you, like, look at this. Gun violence death rate, 15.3. The death rate in Illinois is 14.4. With 1,798 deaths, Texas is at 4,000. Now, granted, those are state numbers, which I think I'm fine with comparison. I don't need to talk about cities because we have states. This is a Republican-run state. This is a Democratic-run state. And look at that. The Democratic-run states is the one that's safer. Shocker there. Jeez, it's almost like if you compare a fucking city of, what is the population? One moment. Population of my shitty 2.6 million compared to less than a million. Is it shocking? Is it a wonder why there are more gun deaths in Chicago? Like, it's a bigger city. Of course there's going to be more. The bigger question is it a larger percentage of the overall deaths? God damn. I love the idea that this guy is like, oh, send this to your left-leaning friends. How about this? Left-leaning people, send this clip. When I clip this into a segment, send this video to your right-leaning friends and watch me destroy this guy's right-leaning talking points. Watch me debunk the debunker.
Tulsa and Omaha, not one of these Republican-led cities even make the list for even top 10.
Like, they focus on cities because
all of these
they focus on cities, and they focus specifically on raw numbers of cities.
Cities are in states that are gun-friendly, and 2 of these cities are in states that rank first in
total estimated gun sales by state. Ooh. Okay, we'll do it again. If you like, I'll bring up this chart every goddamn time, and you can all get sick of it, and I don't care. Because let's go take a look. Texas. Let's see how much this graphs on nicely to the death rate. Texas, right there in the center. We got in the center there, 15.3 in the orange. Florida. What do we got? Where's Florida? Isn't Florida actually pretty decent? Florida's actually pretty decent. Florida's at 14 straight. Just behind, just a little bit safer than Illinois. Crazy that. California, which also, wait a minute. You're telling me 3 of the most populous states have 3 of the largest gun ownership rates? Jeez, I wonder why. I wonder why more people equals more gun sales. Like Pennsylvania, also kind of rural, also a pretty populous state. But do you notice, like, at the end of the day, like Virginia, what's Virginia at? 14.9. What's DC? DC, a really high rate, but a low amount of deaths, which makes sense. DC is very small.
And second for having the most gun sales in 2020. So clearly the issue isn't the guns in the city, it's the politicians.
Wait, one of those was a state comparison. You're talking about city comparisons. Which one is it? And are you comparing cities, like, are you comparing them on an equal playing field?
And their failed policies in these cities. Nice try.
You want to know?
It was a nice try, and I did blow him out of the fucking water. This is true.
93% of the illegal guns used in crimes in New York City aren't from here.
Hey, look, it's that thing that I talked about.
Theater majors have come here to make a name for themselves. The
Big
guns
facts.
come from bringing guns for drugs and crime and rapists and some
guns. New York,
Our good guns.
all this proves is that gun control laws don't stop criminals from getting.
No, what it proves is that if you don't have consistent gun laws, if they go up and down all over the place, that you're going to have a variance, as I spoke earlier, of actual effectiveness of the laws.
Guns. New York makes it incredibly hard to get a gun legally, so criminals go and buy them illegally. This is like how you.
Well, no, they don't. They go to no, you dipshit, you idiot, you moron, you buffoon. No, they go to other states, purchase them legally, and then drive over the borders and go to their homes. That's like a whole thing. You go to a gun show in a different state where it's easier to buy your guns, and then you drive back home. It's not difficult.
Citizens don't stop mass shootings that often. Well, duh, mass shootings don't happen often, but they all.
Wait, but what percent? Wait, whoa. But what percentage of mass shootings are stopped by citizens? Is that a large percentage or a small percentage? I don't know. It's almost like we've had so few examples of that happening that it's kind of like the answer is no.
Often happen in gun-free zones where citizens aren't allowed to carry guns, which is why you don't get a whole bunch of citizens stopping mass shootings. If you make it impossible to buy a gun legally by not having very many places to buy a gun legally, then the guns that are in the state are going to come from outside of the state.
So what you're saying is the states without good gun laws are the danger. He does understand this, right? Like that the argument he's making is that the states with less gun laws are a larger danger, are a bigger danger to safe states. That all of those unsafe, low gun law states are the danger to safe states with good gun laws. That is what he's saying. He just doesn't realize it because he's an idiot.
Where they allow people to exercise their Second Amendment rights. You're literally arguing to ban guns or restrict them to such a degree that they might as well be banned in the first place.
We might.
No, just universal background checks and red flag laws. That I feel like would shore up pretty much a lot of the issues, along with a better money to the ATF so that they can seize a lot of the weapons that are out there. Because we have like just a lot of guns in this country circling around. It's a wonder why I even buy guns legally, to be honest. Like, considering how easy it is to purchase guns illegally. Just go over to the next Republican-led state, go buy your gun, and you're fine.
To put up some border controls to stem this invasion, this flood of literally undocumented weapons, Republicans fight
big facts.
Every attempt to bring some kind of order. 2005, they passed laws.
Like, what's funny? See the thing that Jon Stewart is doing, which is fucking genius, is that he's drawing a comparison to the Republican Party's position on immigration. Their position on immigration is that we need to create a border wall. We need to strongly enforce immigration laws because without so, there would be crime that would make its way from other countries into the United States, as evidenced by the high crime rate of immigrants in this country. Unfortunately, for Republicans, the crime rate amongst immigrants is lower than the crime rate of native-borns. So that doesn't really like work in terms of an argument, whereas when it comes to guns being illegally trafficked over border lines of states, we do find a high use of illegality when we look at those cases. Like, we still see so much illegal gun ownership and transfers between states. Actual crime that leads to bad consequences, such as mass shootings. Hey there. And just general gang violence, by the way. I mean, that's, any gang member will tell you, yeah, we don't, like, if we operate in a less gun-friendly state, we just go buy them in a gun-friendly state and then bring them here. It's almost like if you had federal laws that reached over both states, you would have a better coverage of your laws.
To increase the chaos. Look at all the laws and things that they've done. In 2005, they passed a law that effectively protects gun dealers and the gun manufacturers from being held liable for where their guns end up.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I actually kind of, I'll be honest, I actually agree with that one. If you're a manufacturer, I don't think you're responsible for like where or how that ends up in the wrong hands. Mainly because there's just no way for you to like, it's the same thing like anything else. You wouldn't sue, Andrew Ray, Babish from YouTube because somebody used one of his knives to kill somebody. What are you doing, cat? Stop it. Stop that. No. I have to go stop my cat. 1 second. Would you stop that? No. No. That is not for you to climb. No, get down. It's a shirt. It's there to be hung and worn eventually. Not for you to climb and knock down. Anyway.
From being held liable for where their guns end up.
Oh, for crying out loud. I've done this 1,000 times and I have to
Tell me about it, brother. Tell me.
do it again. The Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act is a law that says you can't sue a gun company simply because someone used that guns company in a crime. That's it. You can still sue gun companies. You just can't sue them for what someone else did with their gun. No more than you can sue a car manufacturer for drunk driving accidents. Jeez.
Imagine this argument if it was like, what? Okay. Somebody's gotten bored and woken up. You need to go out into the world. You need to go. Yep. No. We're gonna go out. Okay, everyone say goodbye to River. She's gonna take a break from streaming. I can hear the AC running in the other room, and it is so much more comfortable in terms of climate in there. I do not know what I'm going to do back here when it gets, like, broiling hot as we continue on the summer. Oh, boy. Okay, anyway.
Also try and make sure that terrorists and felons can still get guns.
After the Orlando nightclub shooting, there was an attempt to pass a bill to stop anyone on the secret FBI terror watch list from buying a gun, even if they had no real connection to terrorism.
Okay.
The problem is that people can be put on this list without any charges or convictions, and being on it doesn't mean that you're guilty. Denying Second Amendment rights based on such an arbitrary...
How much do I agree with this? I do think, okay, so here's the thing. I do think that there is a threshold for this that could be acceptable. I don't know if that law passed. Like, I don't know if that law was within that threshold of reasonability, but overall, I'm not crazy about that. Just because, again, there is a point to be made where it's like, well, who gets put on the FBI watch list? And again, like, think about if, it's always like, think about if it's an administration that you're not in favor of. Like, would I be okay with the FBI going like, Josh, no, you cannot own that Glock 17 because you've gone to pro-Palestine rallies and you voted for Biden, therefore we're not sure. Maybe you're Hamas. I don't know. Maybe you're Hamas. I don't maybe it could be possibly. So we're gonna put you here. No guns for you. I do think that can get out of hand very quickly and very easily.
List violates due process. These lists often include innocent people like children and members of Congress.
Moving on.
Rifles. You can turn those guns into machine guns with bump stocks.
The bump stock ban.
Actually, it was the Supreme Court that did this. And for years, the ATF held that semi-automatic rifles with bump stocks were not machine guns. However, after the law...
Excuse me, that's not a machine gun. A machine gun is designated as a weapon that fires with one pull of the trigger at a continuous pace. What you're describing is a gun firing multiple at a rapid pace faster than one could pull the trigger, but each trigger pull is actually its own single fire motion.
Las Vegas shooting where a gunman used bump stocks to fire hundreds of rounds, killing
What's the difference?
And injuring 500. The ATF decided to...
Do you notice how like he doesn't give a fuck about that number? Like killing, what was it, 100 and injuring 500. It's just like, who cares? Who gives a fuck? Why should I give a fuck about innocent people getting shot by a guy with a fucking rapid fire attachment? Like, why should I care? It's like, well, I don't know. If you were in that crowd, I think you'd care. I think people who are victims would care and their families would care. I think if you thought you would ever be on the receiving end of that, you would care. But if you're Colian Noir, you probably don't go out in public because you're like a loser YouTuber and the only outside time you get is going to your range in your backyard after you've been sent like your 800th check by Glock, whoever the fuck. So, I mean, I get it. Colin Noir does not fear for his life. He lives in like rural backfuck nowhere Texas, and probably has like, you know, thousands upon thousands of dollars of security equipment. So he doesn't think, you know, he probably doesn't go to concerts, probably a loser. So he doesn't think that he's ever going to be the victim of a mass shooting. But, you know, us regular normal people, when we leave the house and go to like, you know, public group functions, have to think to ourselves, is there a possibility for danger here? Possibly, is that something I need to worry about?
To change their mind. They propose a new rule to classify bump stocks as they don't turn an AR-15 into a true
Here it is, here it is.
This shift was simply a response to public pressure following.
Yep. It's almost like our government was responsive to a concern that the American people had. Is that supposed to be a bad thing?
The shooting in Las Vegas. It does not turn a gun into a machine gun. It just doesn't.
Okay, by the definition of a machine gun, but why do I care? So this is the kind of semantic bullshit that I get really tired of hearing, where guys like this will be like, excuse me, it's not a machine gun. A machine gun fires at this rate per second or per minute, probably. Yeah, it's most likely measured by minutes. By this many rounds per minute, a bump stock semi-auto does not reach that threshold. To which most people will go, okay, then fine, then classify it as whatever. I don't care what you classify it as, a mechanical gun. I don't care. Either way, irregardless of what it is called, it is clearly incredibly dangerous and effective at killing a lot of people very quickly, which is kind of the whole point of a machine gun. The point of a machine gun is to send more rounds down the line than a single fire otherwise would. Like, that is the entire sole purpose, is to get rounds downfield as quickly as possible. Just because something does something similar but not as well does not mean that it's not a problem suddenly.
They make it impossible to study the effects of guns.
The purpose of the Dickey Amendment to H.R. 3610 was to prevent federal funds from being used to promote gun control under the guise of public health research.
And why? Do you have, besides the argument of they ruled that way, do you have an argument as to why guns aren't a concern for public health? They kill people. Cars are a concern to public health. The climate is a concern to public health. Emissions are a concern to public health. Why aren't guns?
In 1993, Dr. Mark Rosenberg of the Services Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, said that the Clinton administration wanted to reframe the debate about gun control to portray guns as a public health menace. In 1996, Congress prohibited the CDC from using taxpayer funds to underwrite research advocating gun control.
And I'm aware that happened and that it was instituted by Congress and by most likely who is this guy? Who was that person? Wait, 1993. One moment. What's this guy's name? Mark Rosenberg. Let's do CDC. Excuse you. Can I get, here we go. Let's see. Career. Rosenberg worked CDC 20 years. Publicly advocated the measure. Wait. His research included studying increases in the incidence of suicide. He publicly advocated for measures to control gun violence, emphasizing its public health impacts at a 93 conference. When you bring a gun into a home, you take on yourself, your family, and your kids a big health risk. What did this person just say? 1993 of Services said that Clinton administration wanted to... Wait, so yeah, they're framing this as if this was a negative, when he's just stating a fact that they were reframing the argument. Which, keep in mind, none of this about gun control portrayed as a health menace, none of that is in quotations, meaning he never said that. That's just the NRA. Man, just a little bit of reading would have helped me. Man, I'm turning even more right-wing now. Beginning to not read. Yeah, this person came out in favor of gun control. And I don't give a fuck if the CDC prohibited, if Congress prohibited the CDC from investigating it. Congress is shit. They don't do anything. They haven't done anything in decades. So yeah, wow. The legal system conspired to keep the American people in more dangerous conditions. Wow. You really fucking hit on a novel concept there, my boy.
Didn't make it impossible to study the effects of gun violence. There were tons of studies being done on the effects of gun violence.
So why is it that government funds are allowed to study literally everything but that? Don't you think that, like, I don't know, the existence of don't you think it's one of, like, if you go and look, any group that studies gun violence are mostly nonprofits, meaning they have to figure out a way to pay researchers and do that research. Meanwhile, if you'd like to study the climate, if you'd like to, do some research into that, you can get government dollars to do that. So you can do your research without having a funding mechanism. It's literally like, to study gun violence is to like study it at such a at such a disadvantage because you're not allowed government funds, which most research pulls from, because the government has an interest in learning things about the world.
Y'all just wanted to use the authority of the government to push gun control through studies. And
I love that this guy, okay, so let's keep in mind, this guy doesn't like studies, but isn't he like a lawyer or whatever? Like, you use, like, only people so bereft of an argument are as flippant about their disregard for studies. If you'd like to challenge the studies, by all means, but he's not going to, because at the end of the day, the idea that studies matter to him, they're irrelevant. You could show him that guns, like, again, we have the data. We know more guns in states with less gun control are more dangerous. We know this. There is no refuting that argument. So what does he do instead? Instead, it's like, but what about the rights? Oh, but Congress said you can't do that. Oh, you shouldn't use government money to study something because that's unfair somehow. Even though the government allows money to be done in the studying of things on every topic. Like, the government funds the studying of emissions, the studying of climate, everything. But suddenly, to make and inform legislators when they sign on to legislation. But guns, nope, we can't do that. We can't do that. And the answer to that is obvious. The gun lobby has paid. The entire Republican Party is in the pocket of the Republican Party. That's why. Or I should say the Republican Party is in the pocket of the NRA. That's why.
Said no.
They make it impossible to track the illegal guns.
Wait, what? Does he not realize the Firearm Owners Protection Act is the reason why machine guns are virtually impossible to own now? But what he's really crying about is the fact that the Firearm Owners Protection Act prohibited the creation of a national gun registry, which we all know inevitably is used to confiscate guns. That's the only
See, he doesn't have an argument besides just like, nope, you're going to use the confiscate gun. Yeah, we will. Yeah, it will happen if you own them illegally. If you break the law, there will be consequences for that, yeah. And keep in mind, every 2A person, every single 2A content creator does the same thing. You can't create a registry because then you're going to because then it's just going to be mass confiscations. Even though nowhere is mass confiscation in Democratic circles, there isn't an appetite for that, even for the fucking liberals. It's not something they're interested in doing. It's like, oh, you can't register everyone's cars because then they'll confiscate them. Have they confiscated them yet, even though cars are wildly dangerous? No, they haven't. Idiotic take.
The only reason why you want to know where all the guns are so you can go and confiscate them.
Well, yeah, if they're being used by gang members, wouldn't you want gang members to not have guns?
And that's why he went over it so fast as well, because he didn't want to point out the fact that basically that act banned machine guns.
Keep in mind also, that's not a fact to say that you want to ban. Saying that, like, oh, you want to create a registry to take guns away, that's not a fact. That's just your opinion, man. That's just your argument for why we shouldn't have a national registry, to which there's like, the obvious defeater is like, all right, fine, write legislation and that says there cannot be mass confiscations. Or how about this? We just don't do it. We just pass it and we find out and you all can challenge it in the Supreme Court afterwards. How about that?
It also allowed interstate sales of long guns and protected gun owners traveling across state lines, ensuring their firearms were legal at both the start and end of their journey. It limited the ATF's power to conduct warrantless inspections of gun dealers as well. They essentially compromised machine guns to give other rights to gun owners, and he's still complaining. Granted, I don't agree with the compromise, but it goes to show they don't actually want to compromise. They just want it all. Now,
what are you talking about? Like, do you notice how it's always hyperbole with these people? How like like the meme of every like 2A supporter is that they're like clutching their guns, tears washing, flooding down their eyes as they clutch their precious AR-15s. That's kind of a meme, but it's also mostly true. Because all of their content creators and speakers all act like this when people go like, hey, can we like, I don't know, like I have to register my car every year. I think it's reasonable that you have to register your firearm. They fucking mauled every time over it. Just the idea of, no, you can't know which guns I own because then you're one day gonna want to take them. No! And it's like, well, are you breaking the law, bud? Are you doing anything wrong? Because if you're not, then I can't think of a reason as to why I'd want to take your gun. But if you are breaking the law, and if you are, you know, doing all this shady shit, then, you know, I don't know. I thought we believed in the law and order around here, but you know, they're all for that whole thing where they're like, if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't have anything to hide. They're all for that for literally everything except for guns.
Anytime I wear this shirt right here that I'm wearing, this is the Keep America Tactical.
Here we go. Yeah. I know. Hawk some merch. We're done. No. We're done. We're not hearing the merch talk. Jesus. They're just so fragile, man. I cannot imagine being so fragile. Like at the end of the day, your hobby isn't fucking collecting coins, guys. It's firearms. I'm sorry. You picked the dangerous hobby. It's like anybody else who's like, my hobby's blowing shit up. It's like, I'm sorry. You're going to have to jump through more hoops because blowing shit up is dangerous. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I get it. Blowing shit up in your backyard's fun. I'm not saying it's not. But at the end of the day, we gotta be reasonable here. But, all right, it is almost 4. I feel like I've said everything I need to say about immigration. Like that's the last segment, but I really don't know if I have anything more to say about immigration because it's kind of all the same shit. Immigrants commit less crime. They are integral to our economy and to our what's the word I'm looking for? Like our like food infrastructure, like you kick all those people out and say goodbye to your fucking 99-cent apples or whatever the fuck apples are selling for these days. Like get ready to not be able to afford. You think groceries are bad now? Poof. Get ready for it, my friend. Okay, now let's do this. We'll do a shorter video. We'll do like the young voters video. That might be a little bit more. I might have a little bit more novel things to say than what I said like an hour ago. So let's go take a look at concerns of young voters, shall we? This.
We are less than 5 months before the presidential election, so let's take a look at how young voters feel about the big issues and the candidates. A new CBS News poll shows that voters under the age of 30, which we're calling young, favor President Biden by more than 20 points.
It's tragic.
But the numbers also
I'm no longer a young voter.
Major questions about whether those folks will actually
that
show
hurt.
up at the polls.
Fuck you guys.
Kaylin Huey-Burns listened to young voters across the political spectrum in the battleground state of Arizona to find out what's on their mind.
By the way, I fucking despise the term battleground state. I really do. I despise our system that emphasizes like some states over others. It's complete fucking nonsense. Undemocratic. Ridiculous.
Ahead of this critical election.
Chaotic?
Kind of scared a little bit. I don't feel like anything is improving.
Shambles. These are the voices of young voters in Arizona describing how they feel about the state of the country right now, and their vote could be key in picking the next president if they show up.
The couch is looking real comfy right now.
So you'd be entirely comfortable staying home?
For sure. Absolutely.
Roger Ward is 29 and doesn't feel like any of the candidates are speaking to issues affecting young Black Americans.
You have to give us something to vote for.
Do you think that sitting this election?
Yeah, like if you're a young Black voter, what the fuck has Biden done for you? Dick. Like coming in, you like after during the primaries, you heard all this shit about Biden winning Black voters in South Carolina and how they were gonna like deliver on like police over policing and violence. Oh, nope, didn't do any of it. No police reform in 4 years. Dipshit. Idiot move.
Election out sends a message.
Absolutely, because we're weaponizing our vote.
I just registered a week ago.
Adam French, who is 26, was planning to sit this one out until he considered a third option.
I didn't feel like inspired, but yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay, now I actually want to like vote.
At an arts festival in Phoenix, other first-time voters spoke about their concerns.
Then there's this
I'm
guy.
not happy about my options, but I do understand.
The true voice of all millennials and Gen Z. I'm not happy with my choices. My options are suck and suck more.
Understand that if I don't vote, then it's probably a vote for Trump, and I don't want that.
I mean, if you don't vote, it's just like for any millennial, it's like if you don't vote, you're definitely getting like the problem for millennials and the problem for Gen Z is their two options to vote are like both maybe not equally awful, but they're both on the awful side of the spectrum. And their option to not vote like doesn't change that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't vote, it's not like you're getting a better option than the two not great options. Like you're just gonna you're just like I don't care between worse, like bad and worse, which like sure I would always like I would always advocate people to like, hey, it's better for you to vote for something bad than vote for something even worse than that. At least get the better of the two, but that's not incredibly motivating.
New CBS News polling shows 66% of voters under 30 say they will definitely vote in November.
That's certainly good.
But that's far less than older Americans. Young voters were key to Biden's victory.
Bro, we need to have anti-suffrage after like
4 years ago,
70. No more voting for you.
Say they'll do so again. And the economy is a central issue. Our new poll shows a majority feel it's gotten harder to buy a house, raise a family, and get a good job.
Fuck yeah. You can't you don't want to have kids and raise a family unless you have a home because you want a stable mortgage, not fucking jumping around renting all the time. So, yeah, like if you can't afford the one, that has downstream consequences for the other two. Like I know a bunch of people who are just like, yeah, we're not buying a house until ever, maybe when their parents die, but like, then it's like, cool. So I'll buy a house when I'm 40, 50. Like how long do people have to wait?
Some said that's driving their support for Trump.
He seems more competent. The cost of everything is kind of going up in general.
The economy
been
is
doing
also
that forever.
For Biden supporters like Ruby Morales, a recent college grad who's working at a Starbucks while she looks for a career.
Jesus.
It's kind of unfortunate that
like you graduate out of college with probably a degree in something that isn't being a barista and you're just stuck at Starbucks.
My current job is paying more than my future job.
And it's not lost on young voters
God.
that they are having to choose between the two oldest candidates.
And keep in mind also those kinds of jobs, like that happens a lot of times where you get out and you're like, wow, the thing that I like went to school for is just not like isn't paying very well right now. But like the barista job, because I can pick up tips and like, you know, stuff like that, I can get paid more doing that. But the problem with that is not everyone A can be a barista, but B, like, what are we going to do? Just have like an entire generation that the only thing they did was be a barista? Like we need people in those professions. Like those professions need the next generation to move into them or we're not going to have those professions. So it's like somebody needs to fill that. Like we need people for those jobs, but they can't because it's not paying well enough, and Starbucks eventually will stop paying you well. Like as inflation keeps rising and as prices keep going up, that Starbucks job might be getting you good right now. But fast forward 5-10 years, and that well is going to dry up. It is going to dry up.
Neither Trump nor Biden understands younger people, and they're less likely to want to vote because of that.
Preferably somebody under the age of 50.
I can't believe people
would be
said
awesome.
both do.
In 2020, it's the same options you had then, and we all saw how that went.
And it's also worth noting that while the economy is a top concern for these young voters, the issue of abortion, climate, and race and diversity also rank higher for them than other age groups. And for those young voters not yet paying attention to this presidential race, all of those issues are likely to come up at this week's debate. Tony?
They sure are. Caitlin, thank you very much.
Yeah, this debate's going to be rough, folks. I suspect nothing but fucking, what's it called? Nothing but a lot of mudslinging at this debate on Thursday. I'm so sad it's Thursday. I thought it was going to be Wednesday, but it is a last Thursday, so we're not going to be able to cover it live, sadly. We'll probably cover it. I mean, I'll certainly cover the highlights come Sunday. But you know, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I would have loved to cover it live, but that's okay. That's life sometimes. All right. It's 4 o'clock. Actually, it's right before 4 o'clock, so we're actually getting done a little bit before I expected. But yeah, I should do that. So, God, I'm a very bad YouTuber and obviously, and a very bad Twitch streamer because I haven't told you that you should hit the follow button if you've been lurking and hanging out and if you've been enjoying the content. You should hit the follow button. You should also go hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We're not streaming on YouTube right now, which you should also really go do that because you know, right now I can't upload anything because I watched Jubilee and apparently that got me yoinked. So any support that you can show would be greatly appreciated. Other than that, everyone have a lovely day. I'll see you all tomorrow for more news and everything else. And bye-bye for now, yeah?